We're in. Hello, welcome to Some Other Heroes. It is Sunday. It is Some Other Heroes Day. My name is Chris. I am an illustrator, geek, your resident DM for this wonderful trio of chaos that I bring to you today. My pronouns are he, him. And yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. Thank you for bearing with us. We have had an amazing, and also a huge thank you to the guys from Dice and a Slice and Wicked Game for joining us all through May for our little space excursion, which was so much fun. But we are back on, well, not on Earth, on our own world, on the Scattered Lands for our homebrew. And we're very excited. So, before we jump into today's episode, I'm going to get this wonderful trio to introduce themselves. And I'm going to start with Wayne.
I mean, hi. Hi, I am Wayne. I am a creative director and brand coach, and I am playing the quiet and demure Dragonborn Rock in today's game. Rock's pronouns are he, him, as are Wayne's. And I apologize in advance because I have been away for over a month and I'm not sure I remember how to play this game. So there you go. But hi!
Yeah, I could have done a small session 0 to refresh everybody, but I chose to just jump straight back into it because I'm that kind of DM.
You chose violence.
Theo, would you like to go next, please?
Hello, I'm Theo. I am an illustrator, and my pronouns are they, them. And I will be playing the soft magic boy, Eugene, and his pronouns are he, him.
Apologise for the slight clicking. There's a small technical error. We can't find out what it is. We are going to try and work around it as best we can, but... it will.
It's ghosts.
It's ghosts. We got ghosts in the machine, guys. It happened. We're now haunted. The stream is now haunted and cursed. So
yeah.
Congratulations.
So hi.
Yeah. And last but definitely not least, our wonderful Charlie.
Hi. I am Charlie. I use she/her pronouns. I am also an illustrator and lecturer and writer. And I am playing, I'm going to go along the lines of the lying about your characters theme like Wayne was doing. I'm playing the well-spoken and very calm and well-collected Aisling.
The agent of order that is Aisling.
She's very controlled and ordered and takes things carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because Nikki, when we talked about ghosts in the machine, just put goats. So now all I can think is we now have goats in the machine.
That would explain a lot, actually.
I mean, that kind of makes sense. They probably
really
chew through some cables. But...
They chew things, headbutt things. Yeah, goats in the machine.
Yeah, that's
the sequel to iRobot. The Asimov story that was never untold.
The never untold.
Yeah.
And that's where we are today. Thanks, folks. Bye. No. Just
Sorry.
A couple of very small things before we get started. As I mentioned, the clicking. So if it happens, please bear with us. We would love to get it fixed. We haven't quite worked out where it's coming from. So later on, we're just going to pull everything apart and put it back together again and hope for the best.
We're talking about the machine, not Theo. We're not...
Also, Wayne and I are currently recovering from the dreaded COVID. Although we're safe to be around people and we're mostly 100% better, I still have a bit of a cough. So if I dive off to one side, I do apologise. It's just me being slightly ill. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm feeling much better. I'm not going to die on you, I promise.
That desperate look. I'm fine.
See?
Blink twice.
Everything's fine.
As if to prove a point.
Yeah. Other than that, I think we are. If on cue, we are ready to jump straight back in with Some Other Heroes. But I'm not going to leave you in the lurch. I am going to give you a little bit of an update because it's been about 7 weeks since we were here.
Been a fresh minute.
It has. See, kind of a soft reminder about what we're up to and where we are with our wonderful people. So when we last saw our three friends, they were attempting to enjoy their time at the Grand Ball, which was thrown in their honour and the honour of their achievements, as well as to celebrate the arrival of the island of Parshkik to the Scattered Lands. There were dignitaries from most nations from the Scattered Lands, both large and small, in attendance, and had a wonderful opportunity to meet not only different people from around the world, but also for them to kind of forge different alliances, meet the people from Parshkik, and also to kind of see if they could find some new opportunities. The night has been more interesting for our three friends than they could ever have predicted. From the arrival of Rock's sister, the wonderfully sassy Cambor, bringing with her revelation about just who Rock once was. In addition, there has been unexpected attendance and of representatives from the reclusive elven city of New Dawan. While Eugene stole his first dances with the enamoured Gree, Rock, Camber and Ashling were presented with a mystery by the night's entertainment, the Carnival Curiosity, a strange draconic creature bearing humanoid features but neither half-dragon nor dragonborn. Eugene's joy was interrupted as well with the revelation that an old enemy, the dangerous Herringon Cotton, was inside the citadel. Meeting up with Rock and Ashling and getting help from Greece and their dragonborn friend Riskarith, they set out to catch the rabbit folk, only to spring a trap set by him, releasing dust demons from a summoning circle. Dispatching the demons revealed that they were from the very same realm that Ashling draws her power from, and that the circle used to summon them bore a striking resemblance to 4 previous circles that the party had encountered through their adventures. Discussing the matter with Rebecca Ryder, the mayor of Cloudskern, and this night's host, it was revealed that the room the trap had been set in was actually intended for a private meeting between the leaders later that evening. Such forethought and spellcraft being beyond Cotton themselves left the friends with a question about who was really pulling his strings and what the endgame was. Now, with a request to join Rebecca and the representatives later that night, the party has returned to the main hall just in time for the start of the night's next entertainment. Allywood Jak and the Carnival of Curiosities production of The Lady Sage and the Free Chalice. So, I think everyone was sort of settling into their seats. You were sitting near the representatives of New Doan and Rock's sister as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right. And I had just waved politely at, is it Martin Ruskford?
That's it. Yeah, he's not too far away. I think your sister has kind of kept him a little further away. And he actually does look like he's... Let's just put it this way: if he looked any harder at you, Rock, you would bore a hole in your head.
Yeah, that's why I waved.
Hi.
Fantastic.
Oh my God, you're here! What a surprise!
Dear. So you've been saved 3 seats right next to Sabina, who has just kind of shocked everybody by just directly asking Eugene to come and sit with her. Kind of everybody, all the other dignitaries are like, "Who are they? Why they get to sit with her?" Is there anybody or anything you want to do, or anybody you'd like to talk to before the play itself starts? I'm actually winding you back a few minutes before we kind of leap into the play itself.
I'm correct in thinking that I sent Pocket on recon, right?
Pocket is, yeah, and I think we agreed that he's outside the room as well, so he's just keeping an eye on things directly outside.
Okay, cool.
If you want,
Do we see Flame Boy anywhere?
Not since he was attacked. You either think that I think you guys decided that Fire and Virus, either he went home afterwards or he's still being tended to. Maybe the cut wasn't quite shallow as you first thought.
Ugh, drama queens.
So they do say the first cut is the deepest.
Oh!
And so it begins.
And we're back.
Is there an opposite to inspiration?
No, I think that actually just deserves an inspiration because it's so rare that Theo does that to you two. So
Don't encourage
Writing
them.
it down.
writing it down. That's the point of inspiration. Well done. Welcome back, guys.
Retconning a little
To the
bit.
manager.
I would like to, if possible, sit near the dignitaries, but I would like to position myself so that I can basically have the broadest view of the rest of the arena without it being, or the rest of the theatre without it being terribly obvious.
Yeah.
So kind of somewhere to the side so that I'm not kind of looking like that. That would be even for rock.
That's so subtle. What do you mean?
But yeah, so I just want to keep an eye out so that I can kind of just see if there's anything that kind of, a fuss that starts, but also just so that it's a little easier for me to look up and see who's sort of connecting with who during the play and that kind of thing.
Because of the nature of how the invitations have been spread out and the form of people who are in the play, most of the seating is same level. So you're kind of just raised on that. But it's very easy for you to kind of get a seat to the rear and quite close to Eugene and Aisling. I think, Eugene, have you decided to sit with Sabina directly?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just sit kind of to the side so that I can easily see the scope of the audience.
That's quite cool. I think you find yourself sitting next to a human man who you saw earlier in a long greatcoat in like a royal, sort of like a rich green. And this is the High Captain Lester Stonecross from Ashore. And also, you are near a couple of less well-dressed individuals who introduce themselves as Mick with the Gab, the spokesperson for the Albatross, and his companion, Rick Freeman, who is the contracts master for salvage rights out of the Albatross.
Just make those notes on my genuine Theo Blue D&D notepad.
That's very cool. Are those available to buy online?
Those are available to buy online. On the
They're not right
internet.
now, but they will be very soon.
Oh, okay. Those will soon be available to purchase with human pounds.
Thank you. That's
Online.
great. I need those.
So, Rock,
Yeah.
could you roll me a quick history check to see how much you know about the Albatross? What you get?
Oops, sorry, I muted myself. 21.
21. So, with a 21, Rock is very much aware that the Albatross is a makeshift, thrown together floating city made from flotilla and old ships that is on the outer edge of the Maelstrom, an eternal storm that sits in between the Ashur Philosophy and the Empire. It's one of the ways that the Ashur has always managed to keep itself safe. The storm has forever raged, and occasionally it throws up flotsam and junk from the surface, from the old world. So it's become a place where people can make their money salvaging bits that come out of the Maelstrom. It's dangerous work, and it's generally sort of thing that people do for a few seasons, then move on to other things. But quite a few strange relics have been found in that place, odd magical artifacts, a lot of points of history, and particularly the three great nations vie very heavily to kind of contract and purchase things that are found from the salvagers, which would actually be probably including these two individuals sitting near you.
It's like hardcore metal detecting.
Yeah, very much so, yeah. It's where the sand attacks you, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, survival mode metal detecting.
it would have been kind of probably mentioned a couple of times as well. There's a lot of adventurers go out there for a little while as well, because like there's a lot of coin to be made protecting these salvages as they go in. So if you ever short of coin, it is a good place to go for a few months. Aisling, where do you want to sit? Do you want to sit near Rock, or do you want to stay near Eugene, or do you want to come and choose someone else entirely to go and sit with?
Yeah, who's your favourite, Aisling?
Choose my parent. No.
Choose your parent.
So there's no sign of Flame Boy.
He's gone. He's not here at the moment.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm familiar with who Eugene is sitting next to, aren't I? Because I've done work with them.
Not her, but one of her guards knows you.
Oh. Okay.
One of her protectors, not her herself. She's a little bit above where you.
Oh yeah, I've never spoken to her directly.
You know who she is, though. Like you know,
yeah.
You know when she referred to herself, you're like, oh, okay, you're that big person that I used to do extended contracts for your general people.
Yeah, and I have no internal concept of hierarchy, so I'm going to go and sit next to her as close as I can.
Yeah, cool.
Just be like, hi.
She kind of sits back. Hello. Hi. How? You're Aisling, is that correct?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I've done things for you guys before. Like, yeah, you don't know, but we know each other, so it's fine.
she kind of chuckles and she goes, "Oh yes," and she kind of leans over to one of the two protectors who are with her, and she can. Eowyn mentioned you. Said that you were a good friend with Captain Falone of the City Guard.
Yeah.
Good. Oh, well, it's nice to see you and doing well. And you're friends with young Eugene.
Yeah, we live together.
Brilliant. Well, please come and join us.
Okay.
And again, there's this sort of ripple of kind of wait, why is she sitting sort of thing? Everybody wants to get in on New Doan, and you two have just basically taken the two best seats to kind of.
I'm loving it. I'm loving everyone looking over, being like, "Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna sit here."
The two people with possibly the least social skills have somehow managed to.
That's very true.
Love it. That's perfect. So, if there's nothing you guys particularly want to do or say before the play starts, I think you can sort of settle in with your drinks and maybe grab a couple of small bites to eat. If that is, of course, Aisling just doesn't have the entire cheese tray already in her bag of holding.
Yeah, excuse you. It's a bag of fondue now.
Everyone around Aisling is just throughout the night is like, how does she still have cheese? Where is it coming from?
Just disappears into the coat, the long dress every once in a while, and just pulls out a piece of cheese.
I'm a cheese-mancer. I'm a lacto-mancer.
I don't know whether to make you roll con later tonight.
No.
Don't do it.
Have to for the third stage of cheese.
Oh God, we'll get a point of exhaustion.
Possibly. So, the lights dim, and the first notes of music come from the small orchestra that has set up beside the stage. And as the attention kind of focuses on this kind of dais, this makeshift stage that's kind of been placed in the middle of this room, you watch as a handsome greying tabaxi that you've all met before, Allywood Jak, strolls into the centre, takes a flourishing bow, and then with a small pluck of a very elegant lyre that he has, starts the opening rhythms of, for those of you who've seen this play before, quite a familiar version of one of the traditional songs attached to this story. And in a quite clear, he's not the best singer you've ever heard, but it's very clear, and he's telling a story, and it's very much about, he's setting the scene, and he tells you in a broader terms that this is a story based on a rumor, based on a myth that may be true and may be from our history. And he talks about in the first age of our civilizations, we are told of two sages who led us to survive very dark and terrifying ages. Traditionally, we denote one of these as male and one of these as female, though in truth we know not their gender, their name, or even if they were real. But we still cling to their stories as beacons of hope and truth for ourselves. So I present to you, he says, my job as a narrator, the Lady Sage and the Free Chalice. And he steps back, and there's some minor illusional magic kind of comes up, and it kind of changes the setting and scenery, so it looks like it's in this like very old style town. So some of the buildings resemble some of the elements that you might have seen if anyone's gone to areas like Daklan or parts of the older parts of Cloud's Kern. I will have a history check off of everybody. Just saw Rooney's note. It is indeed 2019 cats by default.
Oh God!
No.
Oh, can we not?
No,
Not again.
it never is.
Allywood Jak would be hugely offended by that.
Yeah.
He's an artist, not a hack.
So sorry, can I get those numbers again, please?
23.
23?
23?
Nice.
Thus.
Aisling, you've never heard this story like before. This is all very new and exciting to you. Eugene and Rock, you know that the Lady Sage, sometimes she's presented as a priestess, sometimes she's a queen, sometimes she's a princess. Often she's always somebody important in terms of her society. Jack seems to have presented her as just a wise woman in a town, befitting no great social standing above anybody else beside her gifts. And those gifts, he quickly tells you, are that of a seer and a prophetess who guides her people with love and wisdom wherever she can. And he quickly goes into this story telling you about how she helps people with little tasks, and there's like this presentation, and a familiar bearded elven woman walks on, and she's clearly playing the part of the Lady Sage, and she starts singing in this wonderful terms about daily life and the protections of the world and the places where she finds herself. And then Jack's demeanor as the narrator changes, and you realize as he kind of walks around, and it's an illusionary change, and he comes almost cloaked as he walks past her from behind and comes the other side, and he starts whispering, or like stage whispering in song to her about futures dark and twisted, about the wreck of society and about the possible threat. And you kind of see this illusion drop down and all these houses burning. And then it kind of lifts again, and the whole stage lighting lifts up again. And she, of course, is absolutely aghast, and sings about her troubled heart and what it could possibly mean. But she decides to go to the local lord, and Eugene and Rock, you would know sometimes this is depicted as her father or the local king or a general in her army, depending on how she is presented. And she goes to the local lord, who listens intently because he respects her and her craft and who she is. But ultimately, his argument is, I have no proof. I have only your visions to go on, and I cannot, as you yourself cannot say whether this will actually come to pass or not. So I'm not going to cause any panic. She's frustrated by this because she knows deep down in her soul this is something true that's going to pass. So she leaves him and she goes to beseech the spirits who gifted her with her skills and her abilities. And the scene swaps slightly, and she's seated you see her seated to what looks like a throne made from white stone, but you can't see the figure truly behind it. And she's singing to it, and this voice comes back to her and tells her that her dreams are true, but only she can guide them through this. And they give this spirit, basically tells her she has a journey and a pilgrimage to undertake. He will gift her 3 chalices, and she must find 3 ancient spirits of the world, and each of them has a gift to give, but she must convince them to give her that gift. And each of these chalices cannot be filled by water, by any substance, until such time as this gift has been imparted. So she takes these 3 chalices and she sets out on this journey. And that is the first part of the story as it goes. And I think it's at this time, if anybody would like to make a perception check, or if there's anybody they particularly want to check on, they can do so. Nope. You just is Ashley just enthralled?
Yeah, fully. I'm doing that full immersion. I'm unaware of what universe I'm in, that kind of thing.
Absolutely fine. Eugene and Rock.
I think I'm not looking at anyone specifically, but I basically want to see if there's anything going on in the background. Like if there's little, how there's little meetings sometimes that happen in the back of these kind of events. So I just want to kind of cast an eye about while this is happening and see if there's anything like that happening.
Sure. Make a perception check for me, please.
Perception. Ashling this cheese is very distracting.
Don't you come for me and my cheeses.
Cheese.
We're back, everybody.
That would be a 7 perception.
A 7 on perception. It's not your best, I have to admit, but that is okay. You're still warming up. So you look, glancing around, I think kind of it's hard to see because the lights have gone down.
Oh, no, Rock's just realised he's got his opera glasses the wrong way around.
So embarrassing, Rock.
I know,
So
it's mortifying.
You kind of do glance around to sort of see what's going on. You can't really notice anything particularly untoward. You do notice Martin Risford is still glancing over in your direction. He looks like he's trying to find a way to move so he can sit closer to you, possibly even to engage you in conversation.
I would like to try and catch his eye if possible.
You easily done. I mean, he is not the most subtle of men.
So he's staring at me.
Not staring, but he's definitely looking around, trying to see how he can get up to sort of talk to you.
I am going to make direct eye contact with him, and as soon as he sees that I'm looking back at him, I'm literally just going to go.
He kind of responds to this by kind of making a "Can I come and talk to you?" motion,
and I'm just going to go. And look away.
The shade.
Perfect. Eugene, did you want to look around at all?
Yeah, I think Eugene's never been to something like this before, so he's very fascinated. But I think he's mostly fascinated by the reactions of the people around him. So I'd like to look around and kind of take in the reactions of the other people that are watching.
Sure, I'd like an insight check from Eugene for this particular one because you're doing a different one.
23.
23, nice. What you can see, a lot of people are engaged very engaged with the show, and they are like kind of enthralled very much. Not as much as Aisling, who is literally leaning forward in her chair with her hands like this. Like, this is so new and exciting for your satyr friend. But there are a lot of people who are genuinely enjoying this. The people from Parshkik, who are sort of mostly sat together, are very engaged, because this is probably a completely different telling to this story than they are used to. So I think there's some different things. So Riskarif and her wife are just enjoying it. Greece is visibly making notes.
What a nerd.
Oh my god, what a dork!
It's just kind of like taking it all in.
I'm sure he's read a book about it.
Sophis, her expression is very hard to read. But what is interesting is that she has cast a glance over towards Rebecca a couple of times. Rebecca is sitting in a different sort of thing, just kind of seeing what their host is up to. So she's doing a very similar thing to you and Rock. She's trying to take in where alliances are, what people are up to. You get the impression that she's trying to gauge who she can trust in what is essentially for her a nest of vipers. The play continues. Allywood Jak moves on to the next set of songs, and the bearded elf, whose name I do have written down, takes on, like, moves on to having a travelling cloak, and kind of moves through like what looks like a heavy forested area.
It's Ledsella Airdrith.
Ledsella Eldrith, that's it. Thank you very much. She has this cloak, and she's clearly unnerved by this kind of wild space, and suddenly she is accosted by a small puppeteered cat, which is run by the two kobolds you met earlier, Kotal and
Xanti.
Too many names. So Kotal and Xanti come on, and they start singing in this together in almost perfect harmony. Not kobolds, lizard folk. They are lizard folk. I apologise. Small lizard folk. And this cat teases the sage about not having natural weapons, about having no natural instincts, about not being able to see in the dark or climb trees or hunt for herself. And it seems very mean at the start until you realise this cat, and it's kind of implied by the narrator as well, this cat is not trying to be spiteful. The cat is trying to convince her to turn away for her own safety, but it's doing it the only way cats can.
With spite.
And it bounces around her, and she sings in reply with humility and understanding. And she says, through her song, she tells the cat, I am not a hunter, I am not a traveller, but I must go forward. I must do this. I must do this for the love of my people. I must save them. And she tells them of the terrible things that she's seen and what she hopes to achieve. And the cat eventually comes by. She sits to a campfire which she's made for herself, and she goes, I cannot see in the dark, but I can make fire to see with. And she sharpens the stick, and she goes, I may not be able to hunt with like you can, but I can make weapons for myself. And she talks about like her clothes and how she doesn't have beautiful fur like his, but she can protect herself by taking from the land. And the cat asks her one simple question, which is, with all these skills you rely on the world around you, do you take more than you need? And she replies to saying, some of the people she knows do, but some of those don't. And she would prefer to see a world where we take what we need as we need it and no more. And with that, the cat reveals itself as the first of these spirits she's looking for. This is the hunter in darkness, it says. I am the god of cats. I am the first who taught humanity how to hunt in its infancy. And I will be there to watch you when you fall asleep at night. And it gifts her with wisdom. Wisdom to not take what more than you need, to guide and teach those to hunt from the land. And it tells her of secret paths and places she can go. And as she kind of settles into this this conversation with the cat, you notice the chalice which she's put beside her starts to glow. And it looks like it's full of a liquid that she's never seen before. And the cat tells her that this is its gift to her. But now she must travel further north into the mountains and seek the king of them all, the most dangerous. And she nods, and they part. And she heads into the mountains. I think this is sort of is the end of the second part of the story, and leaves you open to kind of like as the narrator talks about her travels and her hardships and how cold and bitter it gets. It's another chance for everybody to kind of just have a glance around and see who's doing what if they want to.
I am just going to send a little telepathic message to Riskford, and just say, if you'd like to chat, I will be available at the interval. But right now, I'm busy watching.
Your call is important to us.
Yes, please hold.
I think,
due to being very popular, waiting times are much longer than normal. So I may be available at interval.
I think there's a reaction, and of course, obviously I don't know which form of your telepathy you use, whether he can respond or not, but I think there is a reaction.
Oh, no.
And he nods and kind of sits back, and I don't think he's happy about it, but he at least understands.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want him to respond at all. Ever.
The captain sitting next to you just kind of taps your arm and goes, "So, a hero of 2 kingdoms or 2 places already. Interesting. I don't think we've been formally introduced."
Oh, no, is this, which one is this, Rick Freeman?
This is... Sorry.
That's all right.
So
Lester Stonecross.
This is Lester Stonecross.
Yes, I will just... well, I mean, obviously my reputation precedes me. You are Lester Stonecross, correct?
I am. I mean, I won't take up too much of your time, but a god. A true ancient Fey god. And you really saw this thing.
Well, yes. I mean, we defeated it. We didn't just see it. It was quite a battle. I'm sure you would approve. But I'm sure, perhaps one day we can regale you with the story. My companions and I were, we were, unprepared, but in the end, quite formidable.
I think it's fair to say, as you understand, we enter this with an element of caution. But there has been more than enough evidence brought before myself and the Admiral to suggest that this really happened. This is not some flight of fancy. But any information you can provide us on how to protect ourselves from such a creature, we greatly received.
What do you mean, flight of fancy? Are you implying that we made this story up?
Rock, if somebody came to you with a story about an ancient Fey god waking up and trying to take over the world, what would you do first?
Well, I'd probably have a drink.
You check your sources and just make sure that you
Well, I can assure you that we are most reputable sources, and it is most definitely a true story. But perhaps that's a conversation when we are out of the theatre. I would hate to be rude to those on stage.
Very well. And thank you for your time. He smiles and just
Any time. I mean, apart from when they're on stage, obviously. Any other time that I'm available. Anyway, yes. Anyway, this is a very good part of the play.
Did anyone want to have a look around or see who or what was doing?
No, I think I'm still
Ashling's
hypnotized.
Still. Yep, that's fine.
And Rock's just gonna go, Aisling,
What?
you've dropped some cheese on the floor.
Yes, for the next bit.
Oh God. Fine.
Do you want a bit?
No,
I can kick a bit over.
No, do
These
not
ones are
kick
circles.
cheese.
They can roll.
Oh God, no! I don't want. Just look.
Is it a baby bell?
Yeah. Okay,
So
right. I'm gonna flick a fantasy baby bell under the chairs towards Rock.
Oh, Rock is just mortified beyond belief, and I'm gonna try and stop it with my foot, but try and not make a scene. But I'm dying inside of
The cheese never arrives.
Intercepted.
Between you,
Drop it.
There's about
It's not here.
Drop it.
2 rows of chairs between you, and rolling it uphill is one thing, and you're pretty sure Aisling is capable of doing that. You've seen her and cheese.
Sure.
I mean, but it has gone. But you do notice there is a small reptilian figure in a gaudy-looking tiara that is sitting and chewing.
Do I see that?
I think you do. I think make a perception check as you roll.
Okay.
Well, I want to have a look. Can I see them?
Yeah.
14.
14. That's good.
21.
21. You both.
I feel like I'm hanging upside down, looking under the chair like a bat.
You both notice this small red and gold kobold, dressed in clothes that have been thrown together by somebody who thinks this is what good clothing looks like, wearing this big tiara, which kind of keeps slipping off of their head.
Yes. I'm just gonna wave.
Don't think they wave back and then kind of point at their mouth. And they nod.
Okay. I'm gonna flick a few more bits.
And they just kind of grab them and just put them.
I'm just going to telepathically send a message to Aisling and just say, "You can see the small kobold in a tiara, can you not?"
Wait, can I answer?
It depends on how.
Or am I just nodding to myself?
No, you can, but I mean, I am watching you anyway, so I'll just go, good, that's a relief. Okay. Also, don't throw cheese at me again.
Wayne, I think Rock has been around long enough to make a history check on this one. You would have heard from.
You just call me old.
No, I think you've just been around Cloud's Cairn more than the others have.
Good save.
What am I rolling? History.
History.
Unnatural 20.
An unnatural 20. Yeah, I think you put together who this is based on what is presented before you, and this is Kip Kip with the Bite, the present king of the kobolds of Cloud's Cairn.
Oh my god! You're in presence of royalty.
Aisling has just shared her cheese with a king.
King is a very rough term for the kobolds of Cloud's Cairn.
No,
basically,
I have an alliance with the king of the kobolds now.
Basically, they are the kobold in charge, which means they either lied, cheated, stole, or just persuaded their way into the position.
Glorious.
Like most monarchs.
Yeah, it has you haven't had much chance to kind of actually engage with the kobolds of Cloud's Cairn very much, apart from the odd one here and there. But they apparently do have a very structured social hierarchy, which even Rebecca has to respect on occasion.
Amazing. Oh, I mean, if I catch their eye, I will very reverently kind of just do it, sort of bow to them.
They kind of catch your eye, and they kind of big, crooked grin with missing teeth, and they just and they kind of bow again, and they kind of.
I love them so much.
I'd love that he's wearing a tiara. I
Put
love
their
him.
tiara back on. Yeah, tiara clearly like just stolen or like purchased quickly from somewhere and just stuck on his head because
Perfect.
kings should wear a crown of some kind.
Yeah.
Stolen jewels, once again, like most monarchs.
Eugene, there is a gentle touch on your arm, and Sabina kind of leans in and she goes, so, how are your studies going? You finding all the resources and materials you need to advance your magical skills?
Well, I mean, I'm always ready to have more books. I mean, is there? I bet there's a great library in New Doran, isn't there?
Well, I was actually going to say, if you would ever like to come and study in
Yes.
New Doran, I would be more than happy to vouch for you.
Really? You'd do that for me?
Of course.
Thank you.
Our magic school is not as structured as some of the others in the scattered lands, but most of our students walk away with some incredible new skills or talents, and we foster visits and exchanges of information as well. I know that your Uncle Perb is your main mentor, and I would not ever wish to take that away from him, but there is something to be gained from learning from your own people.
Yeah, if I can learn magic from the elves, then yes, please.
Well, whenever you find yourself in New Doran, you let us know, and you can come and spend some time with us.
Wow, thank you so much.
I think, Aisling, if you probably heard a little bit of that, and I think you can probably roll an insight if you want to on that.
Yeah, I probably will. I've been snapped out of my hypnotism by Cheese for a brief minute, so.
By cheese and tiaras.
Oh, my new album.
I was just going to say that has to be the episode name, Cheese and Tiaras.
Yes. 24.
24. It's hard to put it directly into words, but there is a personal interest that Sibin seems to have in Eugene. It goes beyond just, this is somebody from my people. It goes beyond, it's almost personal.
I'll just smile a little bit to myself. I'll keep that to myself for a minute.
So the third part of the play goes forth, and it sees the sage placing herself in these strange and frightening mountain ranges with snow and little food or resources. The cat stays with her, but keeps his distance because it's not their realm. They don't get to kind of have control over this situation. After a while, she finds herself hunted by this terrifying great bear with deep brown fur and eyes like fire. And this is played by our bugbear friend in puppeteering this gigantic bear suit with his big booming bass voice kind of echoing out these quite guttural but also kind of resonant songs that kind of really fill in your chest every single time he opens up, and it's kind of really quite effective. And the bear tells the sage that man has no place in the mountain, that man knows not its limits, and man must bow before what it does not understand. And the sage listens to the song, and her replies are, there are places that man will never be able to reach. There are places that, and things that they will never be able to do. There are things that they will never be able to overcome. But if they don't try, then they will never thrive and never survive. and it's at the end of this sort of beautiful falsetto like monologue stroke song that kind of comes to this beautiful halt. It swings back to Allywood, and he describes the bear shedding part of their size and coming down, and it just basically our bugbear friend comes round with like a bear skin over his head and shoulders, and presents himself as King of the Mountain, Father Bear, the first of the spirits of nature. And he extends a hand to the sage and says that she is welcome here because she acknowledges that there is weakness, that humility is a strength in itself, and that she is quite right. Sometimes just trying is the best thing that you can do. And with this, the second chalice becomes full. And she knows that she has learnt that there is wisdom in defeat, that failing is not the weakness it could be, and that moving forward from failure gives you new strengths and new wisdom. And Father Bear puts his giant paw of a hand on her head gently and says that she must descend the mountain to the plains below to seek the third spirit, but to watch, for it is difficult to find your way on the plains because they look alike and there are few landmarks to see. I think it's at this time that Rock, with your passive perception, you notice something a little odd. You were greeted by one of Camber's. Camber's got two attendants in place. Obviously, one of them is Millie, when you grew up. The second one you don't know. Presently, she is on the outer ring, furthest away from you in the shadows, crouched down next to Rebecca Ryder, just outside. Most people wouldn't have been able to catch this. And they seem to be deep in conversation. And not a conversation of like a servant relaying a message. Like there is a direct exchange between the two of them, almost like they are equals.
And they're talking to Rebecca, yeah?
Yeah.
I will... I think I will just watch for now, to get some sense of whether this is just, if it's a discussion, a disagreement, or like making a plan, kind of just watch carefully. To get some gauge of what this is about before I sort of do anything or say anything.
Absolutely. And she's clear across the other side of the hall, and it's deliberately placed so that she is a little further away from most people who would pick up on this. The conversation carries on probably through the song, most of the song, whereby you hear about the sage descending the mountain and going into the plains. And it kind of wraps up, and it just this mutual exchange, very quiet, very subtle, but it's quite clear. You can only get it because of the angle you're sitting at, and that you are quite sharp-eyed. It just, after a minute, the woman just kind of disappears round out of view, and you can't see her anymore. And Rebecca just kind of carries on pretending like nothing has happened at all.
Okay, I am not going to say anything to anyone yet. I will just keep quiet watching.
The fourth part of the play takes place on the plains, and the sage is trying to get perspective on things, and she's trying to find her way through the grass, and she keeps getting lost and frustrated with herself. And there are so few places that she can kind of get a high view and see things for what they really are. And all the while, she keeps seeing this eagle, which Julie Deschamps has come back on, and in her very clear, beautiful voice, she has a gliding eagle, which you can see she's weaving little puffs of magic to keep like this kite ahead above her, and kind of floating just on this constant breeze. And she's singing about this eagle, just telling to see the world for what it is, to step back from yourself and trust in that around you, to find wisdom where you don't necessarily think you're going to find it. And the sage takes this all on board, and it's on the verge of giving up. You can see this sort of frustration, and then she stops and she sings back to the bird that there is a wisdom in knowing that you cannot see everything, that you don't know where it's going to be, and she will happily follow the eagle if the eagle will guide her to where she needs to be. And she follows this eagle, and they step through, and she realizes and she understands now as she kind of climbs this rock that kind of appears out of nowhere that she hadn't seen before. Sometimes you don't see the end. That she's been running in fear this whole time because of what she's seen as a possible outcome, but she forgot that there is another outcome that can come out of this, out of her hard work and her dedication. She forgot that there is always hope. The eagle settles on the rock near her and reveals herself as Sister Eagle, the last of the free spirits that she is seeking. And she says that there is always hope, and that the spirits would never abandon her or her people, but they had expected them to fend for themselves, to learn these wisdoms for themselves. The chalices are representative of the sage taking this journey and learning these things for herself. But with that, she can now lead the people who will listen to her to where they may be. So although the kingdom may be gone, her people will live on. And that is where the fourth section of the story ends. The fifth section moves on a few months, and it's actually been a number of years since she left. And she returns to her kingdom, and she finds out that the kingdom to the north fell to war and betrayal, while the kingdom to the east fell to famine and hunger, and the kingdom to the west to greed and political infighting. And this is the last of the original cities. And she looks upon her people, and she gathers them around, and the Lord is desperate to hear of some news. He's terrified that his people are going to be next, as the remnants of those kingdoms are looking to them to take what they have. And he's finally willing to listen, and her people are willing to hear what she has to say, and she gives them something that they were not expecting. She tells them to abandon their kingdom, to learn to live from the land again, to learn to live with the spirits again, and they will survive beyond anything. They can put down roots again if they wish in the future, but for now, the only safe way that they can survive is to leave this place and leave these kingdoms that are failing behind. And some of the people disagree, and some refuse to go, and others take heart of what she's saying and see the three chalices and listen to the story in its entirety, and they take her wisdom to heart and they join her. And she leaves, and we find an epilogue before us. The kingdom falls, and the people who remain are swallowed up by war and greed and famine from other places. But those that left with the sage, who saw the dangers of what was coming and allowed her to teach them a different way, became the first travelling folk, the VoDs, who to this day still wow and bring joy to people by travelling through their homes, forever on the road, looking for ways to bring their wisdom and joy to other people. And that is where the story ends. And there is a huge round of applause for the performers as they all come back onto stage and bow, and then the orchestra and so on and so forth. I will have a history check of all of you, actually.
Yeah, I think Rock is too busy making people stand up and applaud.
Actually, the two from the Albatross are kind of looking to you for what you do, because they kind of settle on, like, this guy he's more on our level, but he clearly knows what he's doing.
Well, I immediately stand up and applaud.
Yeah, so they do the same.
I'm the first one to stand up and applaud to make sure that everyone else feels uncomfortable if they don't stand up and applaud. So yes, that would be a history of 4.
Okay, slips past you. Eugene and Aisling?
24.
24 and a 10. The name, so for Aisling, the name, the VoDs, is familiar. They actually have stopped in your village a couple of times when you were growing up. They are a race of humans who purposefully live on flying ships and don't ever settle anywhere. They just
How
move
do you
from place to place.
spell what they're called?
WUIX.
WUIX. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that.
No, that's fine. Eugene, you've probably read about them out of interest and things. They probably have. Probably one time they came through your part of the world, and then you probably found every single book you could about them. It is rumoured that they existed. They might be one of the oldest races of humans in the world. That they certainly existed pre-Ascension. And that they may have been instrumental in helping people find their place in the skies when they were forced to live as they do in the scattered lands. They are very private, but very friendly. They share knowledge, and wisdom is their best form of barter. So if you come to them with secrets or new knowledge that they do not have, they will trade in kind. It's also rumoured they were the people who invented artifice. So the applause sort of slides away slowly. There's a call for encore, and Allywood Jak gives them what they want. He replays the opening stanza, and he, Julie, and our bearded elven go through the opening bars one last time, and then take a deep bow and leave the stage. And people slowly start to mill and step away and kind of start discussing how good it was, and it was a very interesting approach to the story, and all the special effects were beautiful and you three have an opportunity to mill as well, or find each other.
I think Eugene will turn to Zadia and I was just wondering how they tell this story in New Doan, out of interest.
She smiles. Well, I don't know if you know much about our history or what your mother has told you, but we do tell the story, and we know that it is a myth that goes back, well, long before we as a people ever arrived on this world. I don't know if you know, but according to our count, we've only been on this world for about 2,000 years. Our stories tell of us arriving and how we were received by the other peoples of this world.
Interesting. I mean, I'd love to hear it someday.
Well, you should come. I mean, I am not a story keeper, but those of us who keep our histories, our oral histories, will be very pleased to share it. Elf or half-elf are always welcome to know their history. And
What did you think of it? Did you enjoy it?
I have not heard this version of the story, and I think this one feels more grounded. I really liked the way that he placed her not as a princess or a warrior queen or anything like that, but just as a normal person who just cared.
Yeah, me too. I always find it more relatable somehow.
It's more believable, I think. And it's nice to feel that anybody can change the world just by doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think there's a young tiefling over there who's trying to get your attention, so I won't keep you, but it was incredibly pleasant to spend this time with you.
Thank you. And thank you for your offer earlier. I mean it.
Yes, to that extent. She kind of reaches in and she just pulls out a small pin, which has a large lilac bush kind of enamelled in it with little amethyst stones on the gold. Just present this to any of the gates in our region, and they will tell you how to find the city and make sure that you can access it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's your family crest, Eugene. You are welcome to it.
It is?
Yes. Your mother is from New Doan.
Right, yeah, of course. Right. Thank you. And if I do come visit, I can bring my friends, right?
Of course. I mean, they will have some restrictions placed on them because obviously we like to keep some certain things private, but they are very welcome. They're heroes of the land, so we would never turn them away. I mean, Aisling is actually a citizen of New Doan.
Oh, right, yeah, of course, yes, you did say that.
Technically, even if she doesn't always remember it.
What?
There's a lot of things that I don't remember. I think it's something to do with all the cheese she eats and stuff.
It possibly is something to do with the amount of cheese that she eats, yes.
Cheese amnesia is a horrible affliction.
Yeah, has anyone done any at-length research into how cheese affects the
memory?
Yeah.
The memory of satyrs, yeah.
Feel very attacked right now.
So then I become great librarian. Eternal librarian, sorry.
Oh
Elegant
boy.
poetry.
Eugene will write a book about it.
Oh,
I'm cheesier, says Rooney, and I think that's perfect.
Exactly.
Dear.
Well, I will let you get on with your evening now.
Of course.
Thank you.
And she kind of leans and goes, and thank you for protecting me from some of the terrible requests I'm probably going to have to put up with now. And she just taps your arm. She'll see you soon.
Speaking of terrible requests, as Eugene leaves, Rock will I make sure that I give Eugene space and don't kind of hover too nearby. But as soon as Eugene leaves her, before anybody else has a chance to kind of harass her, I will walk up and say, I hope you don't mind. Could I have a moment?
Of course. Iskarok of Clan Revorkas, is that right?
Oh, yeah, my friends call me Rock. That will suffice. Thank you.
We call him Rockery.
No, they really don't. Anyway, would you care to walk a little rather than standing here amongst the crowds?
If you could escort me back into the main hall, that would be lovely, Rock.
Of course. Then I shall immediately put my arm out for her to take and walk towards the Great Hall. Slowly.
She takes it, and her two guards kind of settle in behind the two of you.
Rock, as soon as they fall in behind, Rock's just going to kind of look and go, "Oh, that's not intimidating at all." Right. And I will walk with her. And I'm literally just going to say to her, I do hope you enjoyed the production.
It was very good. Allywood Jak is legendary even in New Doam. Some of our scribes long to see his plays, so they will be very jealous when I return.
Oh, he is very good at what he does. He has taught me a great deal about presenting one's self and telling stories.
Is he something of a mentor to you, or just a friend?
Oh, definitely both. My connection to the story of creation is what gives me a lot of my magical prowess, and Allywood Jak taught me how to harness that.
Interesting. I mean, my scribes would... I myself, I'm very curious about the Song of Creation. I'm not entirely certain if you know, but most elves cannot access it.
I did not know that.
It is rare. Some of us, usually those born... those who have a lineage who have been here slightly longer, it's like someone of Eugene's generation, for example, would be more inclined to it. But no, those of us who are older cannot access it in the same way.
That's fascinating, although I think Eugene is doing quite well and is quite powerful enough without accessing additional magics, I feel.
I think he's thriving under Perb's tutelage, definitely.
You will please tell me if I am inquiring where I shouldn't, but you do appear to have taken quite an interest in Eugene.
Meeting moon elves outside, who have been raised outside of New Doan, is incredibly rare, and Eugene's mother is a very close friend of mine, or was at one time.
She appears to be quite a remarkable woman.
More than she lets on, I think, sometimes.
Yes, I had that feeling myself. But Eugene is becoming quite a remarkable man in his own right.
Definitely. I think eventually he will outshine all of us. But that is for the future.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, he is very good. I mean, it was quite a surprise to see you and your contingent here. Obviously, envoys from New Dawn don't often come this far, and it has obviously caused quite a lot of, how should we say, discussion.
Well, it's, to be honest, we would not normally have attended, save for the stories we have coming from Parshkik, indicating that perhaps our attendance was very much required.
But I, for one, am quite glad that you are here, as I feel that some of the things that should be discussed are probably quite... will probably impact everybody in the Scattered Realms. I think it may extend beyond just those people who think they are important to the Scattered Realms. So yes, I think it's a very good thing.
Yes, I'm aware that my people have a reputation for being aloof and removed, but we do try and keep tabs on things. We're just private. It's not been easy for us since leaving the surface.
Yes, I'm sure, and as I'm sure the people from Parshkik's Island will confirm. Sometimes it is way better to be left alone than to have everybody constantly trying to be part of your business, which I think they are somewhat struggling with at the moment.
I think it will settle, and I think they will make the right choices. And she kind of glances towards where Rebecca is currently standing, talking to the furball form of mossy dillweed. And she goes, but I think everybody just needs to take a small measure of them at this point.
Well, I think more importantly, they need to take a measure of those that are interested in them.
You seem to have a fondness, and I will speak plain. My presence here is not for Parshkik's benefit or to take benefit of Parshkik. I am here purely to discuss the matters pertaining to its arrival and the dangers that provides both my city, my people, and the world at large. They have nothing to fear from Nudoam. We would embrace any decision they make, of course, but my advice to them would be stay close to Klaus Kern or do it by yourself.
Please don't get me wrong. I was not making any implication that you were interested in them. Nuduan has never expressed any kind of interest in annexing or claiming new lands. So I certainly didn't think that. But the leaders of Parshkik's Island could do worse than to take some counsel from you, as you are an independent state. And certainly, as I have a feeling you know, having grown up as part of the Empire, there are certainly enough powers who will gladly and forcefully put their claims on Parshkik's Island.
I will endeavour to make sure that I have a chance to talk to the Countess and ensure that our position is made clear, and maybe she might seek my counsel in those moments.
I think that would be most welcome. They are, from what we have experienced, they are very good people, and I would like to see them. I would like to see them flourish. And thank you very much for your time. I do hope you don't mind me taking up so much of your time this evening.
Absolutely fine.
Right. Well, if you don't mind, I shall leave you to your entourage. And I have other people I would like to talk to.
And she just steps away and just gives you a polite bow, and she smiles. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine, and I will give a ridiculously elaborate, very low bow. And obviously, as I'm wearing my formal outfit, I am going to flourish my cape and throw it, and I shall walk off. And I'd like to just try and head towards my sister.
Amazing. Well, whilst you're doing that, Aisling, what do you do when Rock and Eugene kind of wander off?
I want to see where the kobold's gone.
The kobold is...
My head's back under the seat, so I'm like, where'd he go? Where'd they go?
The kobold is actually standing, talking to a familiar figure, a large, well-muscled giant, half-giant, a Goliath.
My pal!
Ulf is currently trying to find a polite way to get out of a conversation with Kip, who is, of course, telling him very loudly that it was very, very good, but of course the kobolds did it better, and it was really a kobold all this time, and the kobolds saved the humans, and they should be grateful and give them all the gifts and the food and everything.
I'm going to roll some cheese between the two of them. And hope that the kobold will run after it and leave my poor friend alone.
Make me a cheese attack roll, so that's a dexterity.
Oh!
Dexterity.
I have a plus 20 to cheese. How did you know?
So just basically a d20 and add your dexterity. 4. It kind of just bounces off of
Hits her in the
Ulf,
face.
who's the larger target, and Kip kind of just reaches out and grabs it straight away and starts munching on it. And I think Ulf takes that moment of curiosity, just kind of just turn on his heel, and he sees you and just kind of go, "You just throw cheese at me."
Yeah, but it worked, didn't it?
Right. Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate that. That was weird.
Yeah. What were they saying?
Every time I meet, don't get me wrong, kobolds on the whole, really great people, but Kip got voted in, I think, because they wanted something interesting to happen.
Got voted in. They vote?
Sometimes they have a big fight, and the one that is most clever or cunning gets elected.
Is that what they call voting?
One time, apparently, I was king of the kobolds for 6 months and didn't realise it.
I didn't know I was in the presence of royalty.
Yeah, it's a very weird system. Basically, they just pick a leader arbitrarily until they get bored or they do something stupid, and then they replace them with somebody else.
I gave them a disgraceful amount of cheese just then. Do you reckon I'm queen of the kobolds now?
I reckon you're probably in with a good chance the next time that they have a vote. So if Kip proves to be unpopular, you should probably throw your hat in the ring.
Oh God.
Amazing. Alright, cool.
Yeah, one time, they got a book and just threw it out a window, and it hit this half elf, and that person was king for a while. It was kobolds are a complex and odd people, mostly run on pure chaos and whatever amuses them at the time, I think.
This sounds good.
I was going to say, to be honest, it sounds like the perfect place for Aisling to be crowned.
Anyway, what do you think of the play?
I was in another world watching that. I completely zoned out. It was so cool. I've heard that sort of adjacent story before, but not one that's that cool. Just a normal person getting all these spirits.
I know, right? It makes you believe in the mythology just is true and
Oh wait, hold on. That wasn't true.
I don't know. Well, I mean, the way Jack said it at the beginning, he said it might be true. It's an old story, we've had.
Oh, okay.
But nobody knows for certain. But it would be nice, at least the people it talks about are real. We know about them. We meet them.
Yeah. Oh well, I kind of hope it's true.
I'd like it to be true because that just means that there's good people, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it was well good. I love it. I want to see loads more of them now. I want to be a proper cultured person and go to the theatre all the time now.
Well, it's a really good theatre, Danny. I mean, it doesn't always have people like Allywood Jak, but they always have good plays and stuff on. Oh, right. So, what's your patience level?
Oh, none.
So there's a translation into Common that a friend of mine did of the giant war cycle. It's long, but if you can bear through it, it's really good.
So long as stuff's happening.
I mean, giant opera is an endurance sport.
Giant opera?
Yeah. It's an endurance thing.
Not to mention loud.
It's loud. It's full of really, really descriptive stories. And most of them tend to last several days.
And everybody dies.
Days? I'm feeling that giants are fantasy Klingons. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll just go with that one. It's fine.
Yeah.
Although,
Klingon opera.
To be fair, if it's as long as you can take a good supply of cheese, maybe you'd be all right.
Yes, if I've got a memory foam pillow and plenty of cheese, I'll be fine.
Cheese makes everything better, right?
Cheese makes everything better.
Apparently,
yeah.
No, it sounds amazing. Oh my god, we should totally go and see one of them one day.
Well, we'll do that, and I will not hold it against you if you cannot make it through 2 days. I personally cannot.
Have you ever got through a whole 2 days?
I did a 4-day one, but it was a particularly good, really good opera.
You get toilet breaks, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, no. Wait, we're giants. We're not, savages. Marug will usually knows before anybody else when they're going to do one. So have a chat to him. That ogre knows his stuff.
Okay, yeah, I know him. So like,
Yeah, of course you do. You work for him.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I need to find the ever elusive Auntie Needles, who I definitely think is avoiding me tonight.
Rude.
I know, right? She's like that. Sometimes you can't get rid of her, and other times you can't find her. It's kind of her thing. But yeah, wish me luck. If you see her before I do, you tell her I'm looking for her.
Okay. All right. Hold it. Wait. Here. Take cheese. There you go.
Thank
For the
you.
road.
And for distracting kobolds.
And for distracting Yeah, good point. I'm gonna leave a little pile on a chair just for whatever kobolds had left.
Oh dear. And he kind of like shakes your hand and takes his cheese and wanders off. It's the
I'm
second
gonna give him a hug. I'm not letting him
Yeah.
shake my hand. That's
He
nonsense.
takes the hug. He's a friendly guy.
Yeah. I imagine he gives good ones because he's hooch.
He is Hodge.
Yeah.
He's about as big as Marug, but not as thick as Marug. They kind of.
He's in that thick.
Marug is sort of square shaped. This guy's like a very large Dorito.
Okay, cool.
Sure, he'd be thrilled to hear that.
All right. In that case,
cool.
once we've parted, I'm gonna run off and try and find my pals.
Yeah. You see Rock kind of milling sort of towards the front of the main room where most people are heading back to. The music has started up and people are starting to dance and chat, and there's more food and wine and things being brought out for people. And
Rock's not going to mill. Rock is going to walk straight up to his sister, and regardless of who she's talking to, just throw my arm in hers and spin her around and just go, quick word.
Cool. We'll come to that in a second, because I wanted to check in on Eugene first and see what Eugene would like to do.
Eugene would like to find Gris.
Gris is looking for you, and literally has his notebook open, and he's like practically shaking with excitement. They've got one of my favourite. It didn't even occur to me that they would still tell this. This is one of my favourite stories growing up. It's a bit different, and there's some subtle differences, and I think it's kind of cultural shifts because of. Hi, did you have fun? Sorry, I got carried away again.
Carry on.
And it kind of starts going through subtle differences about like there seems to be more of a focus on the spirits as spirits. In the version he heard, they were referred to as old gods. So he thinks that's a cultural shift from recognizing these totemic spirits as something very different in the modern era. Kind of interesting that they still have the same names though. Like he talks about like they're in his time the worship of them as animal gods, and it just goes off on and it's just like literally just completely in the zone. And I think Risk Griffin and his wife just kind of like just wave at you as they kind of go past and head towards the hallway.
Hey, so I this is fascinating. I would love to talk more about it, but I have something quite exciting just happened. I think.
What happened?
Well, so you know that the representatives from New Doan are here, right? And that's big news.
The Elven City, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
the one that
yeah.
people don't see very often. Yes, I've been listening.
So I kind of after we danced, actually, I went to say hi. I don't know what came over me, but I just
I mean,
went over there.
You're very brave at times when you want to be.
Or stupid. It's up for debate, I think, sometimes.
I kind of think brave. I like that about you.
So, gosh, I've just forgotten what I was going to say.
New Dawn, she...
Yes.
Yes, Sabina? Zadia, that's it, okay.
So I sat next to her during the play, and it turns out that she knows my mum.
the very, very beautiful but very, very intimidating moon elf woman that I met very briefly on Parshgate, yes?
Yes, the very same.
Well, I mean, I would never assume that all moon elves know each other, but it kind of makes sense. like I don't know what it's like.
Quite a lot of us, right?
Well, in my time, there wasn't. Like, moon elves were quite reclusive, like even amongst elves.
Well, small world, because...
That's really cool, though. And how does she know your mum?
Well, I mean, she didn't really say too much. She said she didn't know her too well, but that she was a blade singer. It sounds really cool, and my mum has definitely skirted over all of this.
So wait, so your mum might have been somebody way more important than she's pretended to be?
Yeah, basically. And she never told me any of this. Well, I mean, she told me some things about New Doan, but I mean, I guess I never really asked. And now I feel bad.
Well, I mean, like, when you're growing up, you kind of just think of your parents as your parents, I suppose.
Right,
And
yeah.
So, but you can ask now that you're, you know more about it, you can ask. I'm sure she'd tell you. It'd be quite exciting to find out, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I have a whole list of questions. But that's not everything. I mean, so during the play, she was asking me about like my magical studies and stuff, and she says I can go to New Doan and learn magic from the elves.
Oh my goodness, I am so jealous. That would be so cool.
Right?
I know. You're
She
totally
gave me
going to
the
do it, right?
and everything. Like, he gets out and shows it to him.
That's
No,
amazing.
apparently it's my family crest.
I mean, I don't know this, but that's really cool. So your family has, like, a still connection to New Doan. Hang on. She just happened to have one of your crests on hand.
Yeah, that's
A little
normal, right?
odd.
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, why would she have a copy of your crest just like that? I mean, unless she was specifically came here to talk to you.
Wait, no, that's ridiculous. Why would anyone, let alone some secluded, really important elf, want to come all the way here just to see me?
Because you saved the world?
Yeah, but so did Ashling and Rock.
Yeah, but you're also a moon elf who's like half moon elf, whose mother is quite definitely from New Doan.
Why did my mother never mention her?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like you've got a lot of questions for your mum.
Maybe.
We should make a list of things that you need to engage with her on that one. Just make sure that she doesn't get too far away from the subject.
We need to go on Fantasy Trisha, is what you're saying.
I mean, Rock's a little bit more worldly than either of us are. Do you think he might know something about it?
That's a good idea. Maybe I'll ask Rock.
Yeah, but try and be... I don't know. Don't let him take control of the situation, because you know he'll have you like in court dress before you know it. Like up before, like, 'cause he's really proud of you. Do you not see that?
Well, I mean,
Riskarith pointed it out to me. Like, she said that every single time you do something, he just kind of puffs up. I don't think he even knows he does it.
I mean, I guess I've never really noticed.
Well, I mean, so we'll put together some, like, anytime you're ready, like, you whatever capacity you want me to, I will help with this.
So what are you saying? Do you think I should not trust her?
Oh no, I think you should totally trust her. She clearly came here with a purpose, though. Like, she clearly wants to engage with you. I mean, like, I wasn't there for the conversation, so I can't tell you exactly, but if somebody doesn't come to an event like this, specific, like, they could have sent anyone, but she chose to come. Do you not think that's a bit odd?
Well, I suppose so. I just don't understand what reason there would be to make so much effort.
I don't know. I mean, my mentor sort of says, like, I need to be careful about, like, because some schools of magic might try and sweep me up now that, like, because I've got older magic knowledge that they might not have access to. So maybe it's a little bit of that, like, you know, the elves are like, hoo, you know, this is a powerful magic user. We should probably get them on our side just in case. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just be wary. Like, know where you want to kind of put your allegiances. Really. And I mean, I think I'd be very sad if you went there and you weren't allowed to come out again and stuff.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't do that, right?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you and I have never formally gone to a magic school, so we don't really know. They might have rules about that sort of thing, but just, I guess, ask questions.
Yes. Questions. Questions are good. Knowledge is power.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, thanks.
That's all right.
I just wanted to, I don't know, freak out with someone else who will understand.
Yeah, but it is really cool. Don't, like, things to be concerned about, but it is still really exciting and really cool.
And hey, if I go, I can probably, like, transcribe some stuff and send it to you in secret.
I would love that. Absolutely love that. And Amber Moss has said that I can access some of the higher quality books. So if there's anything I think that's right up your street, I am totally copying that and sending it in a
This is
mailbird form.
filth. This is filth.
This is how mages flirt.
Yeah.
Disgusting. I thought this was a Christian stream.
I think if that's okay, I'll move the scene across. And Rock, you sweep your sister off to one side, who's talking to a tall, gallant-looking human man that you've not sort of really seen before. Just looks like a local noble or something. She goes, "Terribly sorry, important family matter."
As I sweep her, I'll just look back at him and just go, "We'll be a minute." And then I'm going to just turn her around and say, "So, quick question. Your companions who came with you...
What's Martrim done now?
Martrim?
Martrim? I'm assuming this is about Martrim. He's done something. Or is...
who is she?
the priest.
Is that the one that I saw talking to
No.
Rebecca?
She's referring to her two colleagues, the other representatives of the Empire.
Ah.
You're talking about her two, what they're called, attendants.
Sorry, attendants rather. Yes. No. I mean your attendants. So who is the other one? The one that I don't know.
Oh, Mika.
Yeah.
Yes. She's relatively new to the family, so I don't think you would have met her. She started working with us the last 6 months or so.
From...
She's from Belwar, originally.
Do I know where that is?
Yes, you do. Belwar was one of the first places that were conquered by the Empire, like 2 generations ago.
Okay.
It's also one of the key principal places of industry within the Empire. She comes very highly recommended. She goes, "Why? What's the matter?"
And I will just, as long as there is a space around us, I'll say it. Otherwise, I'll do it telepathically. But
I think if you start to say, she kind of like re-taps you mentally and just goes, "Quick exchange is probably safer, seeming as we have that advantage."
so I will just say to her, she seemed to be on very good and sort of comfortable terms with Rebecca Ryder. I would even go so far as to say as talking to each other as equals. Is there any reason you know of for that?
Make an insight check.
She's my sister.
Yes, but you haven't been home for 20 years.
Oh, yeah. Irrelevant! Wait, I can't find my... Where's my character sheet? God damn it. So my insight, did you say?
Insight, please, yeah.
20, unnatural 20.
And a dirty 20. There is a series of emotions that sort of kind of very... Like, anybody but you probably wouldn't be able to pick it up. And she kind of thinks through how to respond to this. Do you trust me?
I'm going to pause unnecessarily long for that. And then I'm going to just go, yes?
We will be able to reveal more of what's going on soon. But for now, it's probably safer I don't tell you anything.
This is my unimpressed face.
I am very familiar with your unimpressed face, Rock. I know your unimpressed face. I know you hate being left out of things, particularly if things of note. But just, you will find out. You will find out tonight. But for now, you're just going to have to trust me and trust Rebecca.
So you see all this stuff? This is why I left home.
I know.
This is why I left the Empire.
I know. And it hasn't got any better. I love you.
Fine. I'm going to get a drink.
Fine.
Bye.
I love you.
I'm going to not respond to that. And I'm going to go off towards Aisling and Eugene, potentially grabbing a drink on the way. If not, I will get to them.
Easily done. And I think that's a really good place for us to take a quick break so that we can visit the facilities, grab ourselves a fresh drink, and stretch ourselves. So we will be back in about 10 minutes, which will be about 5-2 by my reckoning here. So everybody just pop off, go and do what you need to, and we will see you soon. See you. Bye. we are back. Hello. Welcome back. I hope everybody got to stretch and grab themselves a cup of tea or something. Make sure you hydrate, or Rooney will water build you with emotes in the chat. It is true. Before our break, our wonderful trio sat through a engaging, I hope, play unveiling a little bit of world lore and history about a particular type of people that move around the scattered lands. They had a few brief encounters with some of the political figures around, mostly Sadia from Ludoan, and Cambor, Rock's sister, confronted by Rock, revealing that one of her attaches was seen on a very personal level with Rebecca Ryder, was asked to trust Cambor, and that everything would be revealed later. So, it is probably about, at this point, 3/4 of the way through the evening. The ballroom is now back in full swing, and people are dancing. There's lots of drinking and merriment, and it's less of a connection thing, and now people are just kind of enjoying the evening as a social event that it is. It's a lot less tense than the first half was. Rock strolls up to Eugene probably about the same time that Aisling reappears as well, and the three of you find yourself on the edge of the ballroom, coming together for the first time since before the play.
Well, did everyone enjoy the play?
Oh, so good.
Oh, good. Well, I shall tell Allywood Jak. He does like to entertain people.
Yeah, that was it was the first play I've ever seen, but it was also the best play I've ever seen.
That's all right. I'll just tell him the second part.
Okay.
Eugene?
Oh yes, it was very enlightening.
Sora, you guys, my new Darwin friend, and you getting along quite good?
Yeah, actually,
well chatty.
So she asked me about my studies, and she's offered that I could go and study magic with the elves.
On the island?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
What
I know,
you mean?
right?
As in, like officially, enroll with them or something?
Well, I don't know. We didn't really discuss details, but
That is so
she
cool.
said
I can show you where I used to live, and I can show you this really cool cave, and this really cool cave has another really cool cave in it, and I can show you that bit. And it's gonna take ages. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it.
There are
Aisling,
no books.
can I get you to roll a quick history check for me whilst you're thinking about your time in Ludoan, and particularly this individual?
Yes. 9.
9? Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
Never mind.
Oh, jeez.
I hate those.
My
those
memory
rolls.
is just not there.
Well, I mean, Eugene, that's quite something. I mean, from what I know of the New Durans, they don't often tend to invite people. I mean, people do go there, but they're very seldom officially invited to come and learn magic there.
It's a pretty exclusive little club.
I mean, I guess you are, half elf, so that would give you some access, but that's quite an honor.
Yeah, I kind of can't believe it, honestly. And she gave me this, and he'll hold out the pin and show.
Oh,
Pretty.
well, that's very pretty. She just gave you that?
Yeah, she said I could show it at the gates, and they would let me in.
Do I real quick, Chris? Do I recognise it? Have I seen that before?
I will have another history check.
Oh, my history is so bad.
I'm sorry, but Aisling is not the sort of person who pays attention to those sorts of things.
No, but she did get a 17.
She did get a 17. Yeah, you have seen that symbol before. You have seen that actually in the in the apartments and the private offices of this woman, this
Zadia.
when her clerks and things used to talk to you and the captain about what they needed you to do, it was on a huge banner in sort of lilacs and pinks, and was a symbol of her family and her position.
Okay. Yeah, I agree, Wayne.
So
Okay.
you can't remember what her position was or why it was important, but you remember that it was important in Nudoan and that she had some clout.
And the crest that Eugene is holding was the family crest of her.
Yes, and Eugene was just about to say, she said it's my family crest, apparently.
But it's very pretty.
No, wait. Whoa. Okay, wait, yours? That's your family crest.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Okay, but it's hers.
But no,
it was
she gave it to Eugene. Yeah.
No, as in, like, she had that on massive banners in her office because it's her family crest.
Right. That's... Okay.
I feel like maybe...
So I don't think I'm the only one who's kind of putting this together, so...
I think you're getting a bit of a
So
special treatment here for a certain reason, Eugene.
Again, I don't want to overstep here, but
it's nepotism again, isn't it?
I mean, I'm not saying
I thought
that...
for once I was being recognised for my skills in their own
I'm not
right.
saying she invited you just because you're family. I'm just saying, it may... But no. But is it one of those things where kind of moon elves in general use it, or are you like directly related to her? I'm unsure about.
Yeah, I don't know enough about moon elves. All I know is that it was referenced as her family crest, and it was flipping everywhere.
Have I ever seen it before? No.
Ooh.
No, actually, make me a posthumous insight check into your family's ongoing lives growing up.
A posthumous check.
A posthumous check.
I don't know if I have a posthumous skill.
Yeah.
Somebody died.
What was it? Insight?
Yeah.
14.
14. No. Never seen it before.
So you don't know this as
If we
your...
were directly related, why wouldn't she say so? And why wouldn't my mum have told me that? Well, I mean, there's probably a million
Well,
reasons.
I mean, if you are actually directly related to her, I mean, things do happen in families. People become estranged, and I mean, I know
You'd have no experience with that, Rob, would you?
Just eat some cheese. I mean,
Okay.
Sometimes people don't want to share certain parts of their family because it's not something that they want everyone to know first about them. So perhaps your mother prefers not to have that kind of history known generally, or although I do think it's slightly strange that she didn't tell you, but look, the best thing I can tell you is there's no point in guessing and making up sort of stories about why she didn't tell you or whatever. The best thing is to just ask her.
Yeah.
I get the feeling your mother's generally rather forthright with her answers, so I would think she would tell you the truth if you just asked her rather than guessing.
Rock's observation is actually true. Growing up, your mother never lied to you. She might admit stuff that she felt you needed to be protected from, but she never outwardly lied to you and your sister.
So many questions.
Yeah, why is everyone being so cryptic? It's quite inconvenient.
Speaking of which...
General intelligence check on that off of Aisling, if she would like.
Really?
Why is everyone being so cryptic? Why could possibly people being cryptic in this situation?
Because politics.
A 9.
9. Weird. Why don't people just
Everyone's
say
just
what they
being
mean?
weird. Yeah, say the thing.
Yeah, so speaking of cryptic, apparently my sister is now hiding secrets from me too, and you wonder why I didn't want to tell you a lot about my family.
Oh,
literally,
what more?
one day of her being around, and already there are secrets that I'm not supposed to know, but she'll tell me later, and it's best if I don't know, and it has something to do with Rebecca Ryder, and
What?
yes, and that's literally all I can tell you because I have no idea what's going on. But I was very direct and asked a simple question and was told that it's better if I don't know, but I will know later, and she can't tell me, and I'm to
Well,
trust
then
her.
why can't you just know now?
Well, exactly.
Stupid.
Well, I'm sure she has
Exactly.
a good enough reason. Otherwise, she would just tell you now.
No, it's just politics. They love it. They love the drama, and they cause they manufacture intrigue and secrets for the keep
It
themselves.
is all very
occupied.
dramatic, isn't it?
Oh, they just make it all up and make it more
very
dramatic than it
silly.
needs to be.
We've got stupid hats on, and it's all drama and secrets.
Honestly, quite frankly, I'd rather be killing a god than putting up with this.
I love the fact that Theo is currently drinking a cup of tea with an expression which says, "Yeah, we never see that at all, do we? Drama from
Ooh.
Dragon Ball."
But that's none of my business.
Rock would never expect that from Eugene, so didn't even notice that look. Anyway,
Oh.
so, I mean, obviously, depending on what happens with your conversation with your mother, but perhaps we should plan a trip to New Dual.
Yeah.
They did say I
yeah.
could bring you. They said something about
That's
restrictions, but I'm sure it's fine.
fine. What do you mean
I live
restriction?
there. It'll be fine.
Well, I mean, like,
Actually, you can
It's-
probably
it's-
remember. It's not so much that you're under house arrest or something. It's just there's certain places they don't like foreigners to go.
Okay.
you know what elves are like. They're secretive.
Yeah. Now there are like when I was there were little bits like ooh, secretive big doors that you couldn't go through, and if you tried to burn them, they turn you off. So like there are certain bits that you can't go into, but like you can still do stuff.
I can't imagine why they would turn you off. It's just unreasonable, really.
No, exactly. If you do want it to burn, don't make it out of wood.
Yeah, I'm going to let one go. I mean, look, the thing is, it's not the kind of place that a lot of people get to be invited to visit. I mean, people pass through, but so it would definitely be something you should take them up on. I mean, you know, if you can bring your servants along with you, we can, you know, stay in the restricted areas, I suppose.
We could all like wear matching outfits and follow you around.
Oh, that's true. Maybe someone will give you a house. But but I still think you should. I mean, you could learn some amazing things from the elves. They're known to be just so in tune with magic, and it would be fascinating to see. Although, like I say, you should probably check with your mother just in case we get there and discover that, you know, she's been banished or something we don't know about. I mean, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying anything is possible. You should ask her. Just ask.
Let's not
Yeah.
more speculating. Look, Eugene's already bloody terrified. Don't.
So
Can you believe my sister wouldn't tell me what's going on?
But you only have to wait until the end of the night. It's not like she's asked you to wait months.
Yeah, but wait till the end of the night.
Considering the stuff that happened earlier with us discovering a massive trap in that room, which was clearly designed for this conversation that's happening later.
Yeah,
in
that's
this
something
evening.
else that we need to address, huh?
It does make me a little anxious as to why she won't tell me what's going on when we're already concerned
Well-
about something going on.
You didn't. Did you tell her about the trap in the room?
Well, no, she didn't ask.
Secrets are so annoying, huh?
Got secrets.
But it literally didn't come up. I'd asked her a question directly, and she refused to tell me. If she had asked me, did you find a trap in that room earlier, I would have said yes, absolutely we did.
She would have needed to ask you.
Despite the fact
What?
that Rebecca has specifically asked you not to talk to anybody about it.
Well, like I say, she didn't ask. So yeah.
Right. Well, okay.
Also, have you checked in with Pocket?
Oh no, I haven't actually. Oh, I should.
Just check nothing weird
Yeah.
has happened out there.
I think it's about this time that you kind of see Pocket just kind of dart past the bottom of the spiral staircase that goes to the upper area, pursued by one of the guards who's looking really puzzled. Pocket. Oh no, Pocket's a hawk at the moment. I will take
Yeah.
that back. Kind of
Still pretty puzzling.
see
Hopping
Pocket
along.
just kind of like
The hawk circling.
yeah, no, hopping along. Actually, on the floor, just hopping along,
flying.
staying just and flying just out of reach of this guard who's kind of like.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, you should probably see to that.
Yikes.
I'm gonna rush towards where Pocket is.
You know, you can just snap him back to you at any point in time.
Yeah,
The drama, Chris. The
I
drama.
know.
Just in case. Oh, it's fair enough. Yep. So you rush up to this guy. He's like, this hawk keeps stealing bits of food. I'm trying to get it outside,
Oh, I'm
but
really
it keeps
sorry
coming
about
back.
that. He's with me. He's with me. We'll get out of your way.
familiar or something? Please
Yeah.
do try and
Pocket,
keep
come
your
on.
familiars with you at all times.
Sorry.
Familiar or something? No, we barely know each other.
Oh God.
We understand and appreciate that wizards do require assistance like this, but we do appreciate if you keep them with you at all times.
Right. Sorry.
This is an
Okay.
on-lead area.
This is a guard trying to regain his dignity, having spent probably about 10-15 minutes trying to catch this hawk that's been playing with him. He just straightens up his arm and tries to look important and goes, right, well, enjoy the rest of your evening, sir.
You too. Thank you. Sorry. Sorry.
And he kind of strolls off. Pocket has a bit of ham hanging from his beak.
A bit of ham.
He's a good boy.
Looks very pleased with himself.
Well, I don't need to ask what you've been doing. You were supposed to be the lookout.
Gives you a flat expression that kind of indicates I can look and eat.
I mean, yeah.
Hell yeah, you can.
Well, did you see anything then? Okay. I'll wander back over to these two.
Eugene comes back with Pocket on shoulder, who's basically keeps putting the ham on the edge of the hat and then pulling bits of it off and then kind of.
Apparently, the only thing he managed to find was a supply of ham.
I mean, that's pretty good going.
And to be fair, that's better than discovering something nefarious going on, I think.
Yeah, talk about that. Which crises are we addressing first?
Well, we're supposed to attend this meeting with them all, aren't we? With all the big shots.
Mhm.
Now?
No, it's,
no,
when the
it's
fireworks
later.
go off, they said just make excuses and come back inside. We've probably got about an hour or so before that goes ahead.
So apparently, well, I'm guessing that's when my sister is talking about whatever going on. But it just seems odd, especially. Although I do sort of trust Rebecca, so I'm at least comforted by that fact, because although I love my sister, the Empire is still. Well, they're the Empire.
The Empire.
Yeah, so, you know. But at least Rebecca I kind of trust, and we'll just have to keep an eye out. But we still don't know.
What about the trap?
Yeah, we still don't know why or who has placed the trap, and we certainly don't know.
And we don't know if that's the only one.
And we don't know who did it, because it certainly wasn't that stupid hair brain.
Nah, he's thick. He wouldn't be able to do that.
Thick in both senses of the word.
Yeah.
Why would someone want to disrupt the meeting?
I guess it depends on exactly how much they were going to disrupt it. Was it to actually injure someone, or was it purely to disrupt the meeting and sow discord amongst the
I mean,
people?
it seemed like a pretty lethal disruption.
I mean, in general, people are here and people are trying to win the favour or the interest of Pashkek's Island. That's one of the things. New Duan is here, although we didn't even know they were coming, so I don't know if anyone knew they were going to be here. So,
Who was going to be in that meeting again?
well, it's all the leaders, isn't it? It's
All of them.
Rebecca implied that there were many of the leaders of the different nations were going to be there, right? Representatives for each nation were going to be
Including
in attendance.
Pashkek's Island.
Yeah, and she was honest enough to say that it was in relation to what had happened at Pashkek's Island and the concerns that everyone had about how to keep themselves safe.
But surely the only people who would know that the meeting was going to take place were those who were invited.
Yes.
That's a good
Which
point.
suggests that there's someone amongst the interested.
Or their staff,
nations.
at the least. I mean,
Yeah.
Rebecca's... I would imagine more of Rebecca's staff would know what's going on. But if this is to talk about something that serves to protect everyone,
Yeah.
why would
Who
you
wants
want
to
to
disrupt that?
disrupt that kind of meeting?
Ashling, if I might intercede for a moment for your friends and their discussion.
Hold that thought, pals. Got an interjection.
Sorry, I was enjoying the play and I was just running over how it all kind of went, and I just heard you talking about that. It does occur to me that somebody powerful enough to be able to summon that many demons with a magical circle like that may have the ability to read minds.
Ooh. That's a good point.
Eugene, has she dozed off again?
She's doing that.
I'm
I think
in!
She's done
She's
it.
talking to.
Bees!
Oh, okay. Dungeon Bees again. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, so Alabaster's got a really good point, which I totally would have thought of by myself.
Certainly
Completely.
you would.
Totally. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't hear the voice in your head. You could have just told us that you had a thought. I mean, for future.
She's
I mean,
had
it's up
too
to
much
you. I mean,
cheese for that
Wait.
particular thought.
But,
Hey.
Aisling, before you carry on with that, Eugene, did you just try and help Aisling be devious?
Yes, I suppose so.
Love you, Eugene.
Noted. Aisling, you were saying?
Right. If someone has the ability to make that summoning circle, which was, we all agree, way too big for Dickhead to make, then they probably have just as much ability to get in people's brains and figure out that there's going to be a meeting. So I know that significantly broadens our suspect pool, but it does mean that, yeah, someone who's able to do that can read someone's mind.
Well, the thing is, it doesn't broaden the pool, actually, because there are fewer people with that kind of power than there are just general people who could be a spy in the staff.
It's true.
So, people who can do both those things, I think there are probably not very many of.
How do we find out who can do those things?
I don't know, but I did just have a sudden thought. Perhaps we should just check with Rebecca if there is a way. Perhaps, Eugene, you can help, that we can, I don't know, check or maybe put some kind of ward of protection on the room so that at least this time we know there's nothing in there.
It's a good idea.
Maybe. I mean, it's not, that kind of magic is not my field of expertise, but potentially. I can definitely check for magical traps before we go in.
But yes, perhaps we should at least make sure we do that so that we know there are no surprises at the very least.
Yeah, where are we having this little meeting?
Is it in that room again?
No.
Oh,
Again?
no. I think that would be a
She
bad
said
idea.
it would be somewhere different, and that what she would do is once people came back inside, she would have them directed to where they needed to be. So I think she is on her way of doing this is by keeping the location secret until the very last moment.
Yeah. I may just try and have a quick word with her and ask her if if they can at least let us check the room before we all go in. So I might just do that. I'm sure she's thought of it, but I might just offer our services.
We can come with.
Sure. I mean, can we see where Rebecca is?
She's presently she's actually talking to Marug right now, and the gold-plated representative from Daklan.
Daklan, that's
having
right.
a chat. Sir Ricard Malthan. And the three of them seem to be exchanging stories, or rather, Sir Ricard is exchanging stories, and Marug and Rebecca are being very polite.
Shall we intercede?
Yeah, good plan.
I will go up and wait for a moment where Ricard has told a story part that's supposed to be either laughed at or elicit some response from people. And then
you kind of hear as you approach, because, and of course the creature was 10 foot longer than anybody had explained, so we had to just send back for further people. But I had the situation fully under control, but we wouldn't have been able to do without adventurers like you, good Sir Marag.
As soon as he pauses, I'm just going to interrupt by going, what a remarkable story. I'm so sorry. Rebecca, could I have a word?
Marag kind of fix you with this "don't leave me with him" expression.
Just before we go, I am going to go to Marog, like, me, you, Ulf, Klingon, giant opera. We're doing it, all right? Later.
What?
Bye. Gone.
I beg your what? Hello, Eugene. Have you got anything weird to say?
No.
Good answer.
I'm going to grab Eugene's hand and we'll keep going.
What was that about giant opera?
Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, you should come. It's going to be like 50 days long or some shit. It's going to be great.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, I know it's going to be amazing.
I can't think of a good excuse not to go.
Yep.
I always find I don't want to helps. Thank you for saving me. I'm presuming there is actually a purpose beyond, say, stopping me from dying of boredom.
I mean, we're more than happy to deliver you back to his fantastic storytelling. If you're
over the years I've had to put up with him, I would definitely not recommend that to anybody.
I thought. We actually just have a very quick request for the meeting later that you have kindly asked us to attend. Mm-hmm. I know you haven't told us where it's going to be yet, but before we all enter the room with the other dignitaries, would you allow us to at least go in and try and check for any further traps or magic or anything like that? I don't know if you've handled that or going to, but we just suddenly thought perhaps we should offer.
I would be very appreciative of that. Yes, thank you, Rock. If you three believe that would be better way suited. I have had wards put on the room in question, but didn't think I would have to do that in my own home. But
no, but just a precaution. And I mean, Eugene is really the one who is adept at finding the magical sort of traps. But with the three of us, perhaps we can at least do a second check just in case.
What I'll say is, when the final crescendo of the fireworks happens, please come in. Everybody else will be coming in just after that, and just find your way to my attaché. Let them know that you've returned, and he will send you to me directly.
Just thank you. I mean, we just thought we could perhaps offer, as obviously we have no real idea of why that was placed there or who's done it. So. Anyway, did you enjoy the play?
Play was very good. It wasn't my favourite play, but I think Allywood Jak did an amazing job.
It was my favourite.
The production was incredibly good. Your mentor is quite talented.
He is very talented. He's a very gifted man in his use of storytelling and weaving of the words. I'm
certain to pass that on to him at some point if he ever gets loose of his fans. He seems to be somewhat inundated. And she kind of motions to a corner of the floor where he is drinking quite readily, chatting to a large group of lesser nobles and dignitaries who have just kind of flocked around him. Nobody that from the big houses and things like that, but just a lot of younger people that he clearly has impressed upon and is basking in a little bit of fame for 5 minutes.
I'm just going to have a look and just say, he clearly is hating all the attention, but I would expect nothing less.
Right, well, if you need me at all, please don't be frightened to send me a message or just come over and interrupt me, particularly if I'm engaged in some conversation that's less than delightful. But I will see you in an hour or so, I should imagine.
Yes, very well.
And do try and enjoy yourselves this evening. I know a lot has happened, but this is supposed to be a party on your behalf, so...
Yeah, that's true.
I've kind of forgotten about that.
Yeah, same.
Go have some drinks, some dances, spend some time with your friends. And I will see you shortly.
Right, see you shortly.
And she kind of wanders off and she kind of flags down Mossy Dillweed again, who sort of seems to be waiting for his turn to have a chat with her. And she goes, and you hear her still saying, Mossy, I suppose you want to have a chat about that new trade agreement. Well, if you can give me a turn around the dance floor, we'll call it my attention, shall we? And the two of them just kind of disappear off.
I'm just going to turn to Aisling and Eugene and say, should I have asked her about her conversation with my sister's attaché?
I assume you would get a similar response.
Well, that's what I thought. I do prefer to be direct about these things, but the fact that my sister wouldn't tell me made me feel like I might make Rebecca feel uncomfortable about having to hide something.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Of course I was right to do that. Fine.
Well, we've only got to wait an hour or something anyway, so...
Well, yes. I mean, are you taking to the dance floor, Aisling?
Nah, I don't think the people on the dance floor have recovered from that yet. I don't think it'd be fair.
Eugene, you seemed rather comfortable on the dance floor.
Well, I think I'd rather watch for now, to be honest.
I want to find some more games and some things happening, because there was that fortune teller, wasn't there?
There was a fortune teller.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
There was a fortune teller?
Yeah.
Did I miss this?
Yes. Oh, well, you should definitely go to the fortune teller.
Do you want to have a go? Do you want to go? I did it.
They told Aisling she was going to be a queen.
Yeah.
Did they?
And I
don't
am
remember.
now. Oh yeah, I'm queen of the kobolds now, by the way. I forgot to tell you too.
What?
What?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
Like when the play was happening, I gave them a load of. It's a diplomatic political thing. You won't understand, but yeah.
Wait, the kobold, the king was sitting near you. What did you just
Wait, what kobold?
Oh, there was the king of the kobolds was sitting near us.
Oh, there was tons of them under the seats.
Yes, what's his name? Kip. Was it Kip?
Yeah.
Kip. Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So, wait, did you just usurp the throne from him? What,
It's not official yet. I haven't had my coronation yet, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm making my way up the ladder in a kobold society now. So
I'm just going to quietly say to Eugene, well, I believe the last king was crowned by them throwing a book out a window, so anything's possible.
I think we need to take the cheese away from Ashley.
Heard that.
Really? You're that brave, are you? I'm not risking my hand.
I've got a demon in my brain. Don't touch my cheese.
Oh, I'm not going to get involved in this.
Yes, you are.
No. You have to defend the cheese by yourself. You need to be worthy of the cheese, Aisling.
Ugh. What's the point in you if you don't help me defend my food?
There's no need to be rude.
I wasn't talking to you.
Well, how am I supposed to know that?
I guess.
Oh my God,
You're
normal people to hang
clever
out with.
ones.
Right, I need a drink.
Yeah, good idea.
If you are looking for her, Mistress Abir is still in the open area just in front of the courtyard.
Is it the fortune teller?
That is the fortune teller. She's very easy
Okay.
to spot. Like she is dressed to look like a fortune teller.
Glorious. Yeah, why don't we like grab a drink or 7 and then go see fortune teller?
Well, I'd love to hear what she has to say to Eugene.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but it's not like real though, is it? It's just
Probably not, but it's quite cool.
It's fun. We're at a party.
Yeah.
Come along.
okay, fine.
I mean,
And then as we walk
I
away,
feel
I'm going
like-
to quietly say to Aisling, it's totally real.
Yeah, it's fully.
I feel like
real.
Eugene knows enough about that there is divination magic, which is quite accurate. Not precise, but quite accurate. So it's highly regarded field in this world. Let's say.
Come on.
All right, come on then.
Yeah.
So she is just entertaining a young couple who are kind of like she's kind of handing out. She just says, and of course you must interpret these how you will, and these are posts along a fated path, not pins that hold you to a destiny. And they kind of chuckle amongst themselves and they kind of walk off excitedly, and she just shuffles her deck of cards.
Okay. As they walk past, I'm just going to go to Aisling and Eugene. I'm going to go, oh, I'm getting a fortune for them. I give them 6 months.
Oh my god.
The young Satyr and friends.
Hi.
Hi, you came back.
Good evening.
Did you wish to...
Yeah, I want you to. Eugene's turn.
Of course.
Do him! Do him!
Damn. I also have the biggest glass of wine you've ever seen in my hand.
She shuffles the deck and cuts it and then places it before Eugene. She goes, cut as you will and pull a card from anywhere you feel. This is your pass.
I'm going to try and find a stool or something, and I'm going to and pull it up and sit next to her, facing you,
Oh my god.
and just sit like that.
So I would like you to roll me a D100, please.
Drum roll, please.
Yeah, the clicky noise made it sound like you just yeeted that demon.
Sorry, I had to find one.
sun.
No, it's fine.
39.
39. Ooh. So you pull out a well-painted card which has 2 beautifully cut gems on it. And she kind of looks and goes, huh. Wealth awaits you, it seems. A fated growth of fortune. This doesn't necessarily be financial gain. Could be power or prestige. But below the ace and the named cards, the second is an indication of great growth. Pull me a second card, please.
27.
27. Oh, sorry, I actually meant for you to roll me a second dice and just tell me if it's odd or even.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's my fault. I should have said.
Even.
Even. She lays down a slightly familiar looking shape. Or Eugene lays down a slightly familiar looking shape. A dark card with a slight silhouette of a cat with with white pearly eyes. The Hunter in the Shadows.
Oh.
Interesting. There is something you are seeking, or something that is seeking you, and the cat always obscures what is there.
Aragorn.
This can be very lucky the way it is positioned. It could be that you are protected by unseen forces, or that the truth that would make your life worse is currently not finding its way to you.
Huh.
A third card, please.
82.
82. Cool. You pull out a card that doesn't seem to be fully formed. On it, there is a shadowy shape that's vaguely humanoid, and her brow furrows. It is rare that the cards shape themselves to the fate of others. This card is unknown yet, and that excites and bewilders. And she looks at you. It seems that you have a broader shape to destiny than you may even know. What you do and the choices you make will enforce what happens with this card.
But how will I see what happens to the card?
She kind of presses it into your hand. Keep it.
Oh, thank you.
This card did not exist before you started shuffling.
That's cool.
Such is the way of the Deck of Reflections.
He's gonna put it in like an inside pocket. Safe.
I'm sorry I could not tell you more of your possible future, but it seems that fate has other plans than letting me direct you at this time.
Interesting. Well, thank you.
No problem. Should our paths cross again, I would like to see that card and see how it has developed.
Me too.
You've got to walk it, you've got to clean up after it.
Got to keep it in a different pocket to the pocket I keep pocket in, because pocket might
Oh,
chew
good
it.
God.
Do it, yeah.
Is it like a Polaroid? If you just shake it a bit, it's going to develop.
Oh, there
Put
it
it in
is.
my, no, you shouldn't do that. You got to put it in your armpit.
What?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
shouldn't shake Polaroid.
The heat develops it. Anyway.
Anyway.
And how about you, young dragon?
Yeah, Rock, go on. It's your.
Yeah,
your
Rock's
turn.
turn.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. I don't need to
Come
know.
on.
Yeah, go on, go on,
Everyone's
go on.
done it except you. Come on.
But, I mean, fine. Okay.
Do it. Sit down.
I'm going to move my chair around to face her.
She shuffles the deck and cuts it and then places it before you.
Okay.
Shuffle and draw as you see fit.
Right, I am going to roll 70 on the dot.
17.
No, 70.
70. You pull out a card that is decorated outside with a border of stars. In the middle is a navigator style character with I can never remember the name of the tool.
Sextant.
Sextant, kind of pointing towards the horizon. The guide of stars. Above the ace, the guide keeps watch on the fortunes and the power that comes. It seems that your path leads you forward to strength of magic, to knowledge, or to secrets that have yet to be revealed.
More secrets. Bloody hell.
Oh, God, I think we got enough of those. But, I mean, obviously, it's going to, success. Yes, obviously.
Pick your second card.
Oh, wait, do I need to do an odd or evens?
An odd and even for the second one, yeah. Sorry.
Okay. On a D.
Any number, any dice would do fine.
Evens.
Evens. So it was upright, so the prophecy she gave you was right.
Cool. Okay. Next card. 20.
A 20, and is it odd or even?
Even. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Odd. That was a 9, not a 6.
Odd. So you get a picture card, and you immediately recognise it as one of the 13 gods. The Hierophant, the priest, the keeper of law, and balance. And she smiles. She goes, "This is easy. A strong read. You will find the peace that you seek for yourself and your place in the world. It seems that the gods have favoured your path forward.
Of course they have.
And your final card, please.
32.
32.
Yep. And odds.
She pulls out a card, and it's a sphere of blues and greens and browns and yellows. Part of it is shattered and floating above the world, and underneath it in clear above itself and beneath in clear letters it says the world. Oh. Well.
What do you mean, oh?
She looks at the three of you together. Yes, that begins to make a little more sense.
But what makes sense?
What?
Don't do that. What?
The three of you, and she pushes the card towards you, whether you mean to or not, will shape the next age. The world will be changed by what you choose and what you do.
Oh,
Oh god, that's so much responsibility.
like Ashley's and Eugene's reactions complete opposite. Eugene's like, dear God, and Ashley's like, nice.
It seems the three of you tie fate to you rather than fate ties you to the world.
That's very cool.
Interesting. She goes,
No pressure, lads.
I very much look forward to hearing about your story as it progresses.
Well, thank you, I think. Right, well, good. Can we go? Are we done? Yeah.
Certainly, but don't let any fate ruin your evening. Remember, these things could be years and years away. Or the motions you have already done could have set things along the path that will eventually take shape.
I mean, we did kill a god.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I am Queen of the Kobolds.
Of a equivalence, I suppose? Somewhere on the same spectrum of wonderful achievements?
They're pretty equivalent.
Totally. Right. Good. Well, thank you. And I mean, have a lovely rest of your evening.
And you. May the fates smile upon you all.
Well, we control the fate now, so they better do.
So I'm going to move things forward a little bit, if that's okay. I think the rest of your evening is spent milling and chatting with a few different people. There are a few games that you get to get involved with. Some of the members of Julie Deschamps' Carnival of Curiosities. I believe at one point you might take Eugene around the menagerie that is open and have a meet of those wonderful characters.
Yeah, because Eugene's not been around yet. I forgot.
Yeah.
And the interactions are much as you expect. I think like Aisling tries to goad Eugene into trying to take a piece of treasure from the Horde Golem, and the Dryder is incredibly impressed and thinks that Eugene is beautiful, and tells him as such, much to his embarrassment. Talking werewolf is quite intimidating. But you go through those, and it gets to the point where the evening is definitely beginning to wind down. And people start to gather in the courtyard area as more and more pour out. There is the first bursts of light, and conversation kind of settles down as dancing lights seem to start to hover and start to dance and make shapes in the sky. And the first as pyrokinetic spells are let loose from the Citadel's roof, shaping first off what you expect, just showers of reds and golds and blues and greens, and then it quickly escalates to illusionary shaping of the pyrokinetics into things like dragons dancing, griffins soaring, great airships, and then it settles into a subtle story telling of the arrival of Parshkik. 3 familiar looking figures kind of indicated in the sky briefly.
Ashley's had a lot of wine, so she's like, oh, it's me!
And Rock's just standing behind her and just says, well, I'm definitely taller than that.
And then it kind of goes forth to show Parshkik's sacrifice, and then settles into other stories and depictions of different flags representing the nations who have appeared here and things like that. The pyrokinetic mages behind this have definitely spared no expense or passion in trying to shape things perfectly. Eventually, it starts to crescend into the big finale, the biggest booms and the largest showers, and you start to feel like it's time to drift back inside. You find yourself inside, and you find Rebecca's attaché, the kind of like quite mousy woman with the big glasses, kind of like just kind of taking notes of stock of things as you kind of come in. And she, okay, and she taps her head for a second, and the 3 of you get gentle directions, like in flashed images, as to where you need to go.
You guys saw that too, right?
Yeah, we did. Well, I did. Yeah, Eugene.
Wanted to check whether it was an alabaster-y thing or not. That's fine.
Fair point. Yes. Right. Well, we'll make our way there then. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
God's sake. No, you hang up.
No, you hang up. And she just goes back to what she was doing. You make your way from the corridors upstairs to an antechamber just beyond where the mayor's office is, where you first met Rebecca in the first case. It looks like a bit of a private section, like a library or something along those lines.
Uh-oh.
Eugene, focus.
And did you want to do anything before you enter the room?
Is that the room where we're going to have the meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I literally will just say to Aisling and Eugene that, right, I think we should just do anything we can to check for traps or anything that feels out of place. And Eugene, if you could help with any kind of magical testing, that would be great.
Got ya.
Is the door...
I can cast detect magic, but I suggest that we are inside the room. I do that.
Yes, of course. I mean, is the door open or?
It's not.
Okay. I mean, not that I know what I'm doing, but I'll have a look at the door just to kind of check there's nothing obvious on the door.
Sure, make an investigation check for me, please.
Not bad.
You're a bard, of course you know what you're doing.
15.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah.
15?
Yeah.
It is not trapped, it is not locked. You can't see anything that indicates sort of glyphs or magical spells that would give it away to you.
Okay. I shall open the door.
Wait.
What?
Don't go through yet. Chuck a bit of cheese through just in case there's something.
Cheese flies through the sky. through
Just
the air,
in case.
spinning on itself and lands with a dull plop on the stone floor.
I wanted to check the doorway first. Okay.
Great. Well, at least we know cheese is safe inside.
Yeah, it's safe for cheese. Good.
Good.
I'm 90% that right now, so.
Cool. I shall walk inside, and I will literally just try and make my way around and like have a look at stuff that's around and behind curtains. Anything that just would be an obvious thing because I can't do the magic check.
I'll help as well. I'll help you out with that.
Cool. Well, you two roll me an investigation check. Eugene,
Sure.
did you want to use detect magic or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna cast detect magic.
So you immediately see some defensive glyphs that are in place, and they are the sorts of things that are basically to stop things like summoning. So whilst you're in this room, you probably won't be able to use your magic to pull things from other dimensions.
Does that mean that Aisling can't either?
Aisling can hear and feel Alabaster as
normal. Okay, good.
Their connection is slightly different.
Interesting.
But looking around, you can see the walls are to keep anyone from scrying on the area, and to stop sound from escaping the room, and to stop people being able to summon into the room. When Rock and Aisling set off, they actually centered off, and you can see it now, like a magical eye that's kind of following you all around the room. Rock and Aisling can't see this at all. They're just completely oblivious to it. It's just this arcane eye just kind of drifting, watching everything you're doing. And you kind of assume that Rebecca or someone Rebecca trusts is behind this, so they're probably like, oh, okay, it's them. It's fine.
What's on the floor?
It is a stone floor with some rugs and the like. What did you two get on your investigation?
I got a 14.
14?
13.
Nothing that you can see untoward. Like, Eugene seems to be very focused on the space above your heads.
What?
Oh, nothing.
You're looking up though. What is it?
It's not a big deal. There's just a spell active above you, but it's
a good one.
It's not a. It's just a giant floating eyeball. It's
great.
What?
Yeah, that just to keep an eye on what's what's happening.
Aisling's just like getting smaller.
You don't have to, it's not like literally there. It's.
Oh my God, Aisling, it's behind you. Be careful.
Okay, yeah. Eldritch Blast.
Ruined another room.
Whoops.
You kind of do hear footsteps approaching and voices sort of conversing.
Before anybody comes in, there is one thing I'd like to do, if possible.
Sure. What would you like to do?
Okay. I would like to. I'm going to use. Oh God, what's it called? I'm going to use my performance of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to create a rug that looks like the other rugs that are on the floor.
Okay.
And just lie it in the center of the room amongst the other rugs, so it just looks like there's another rug on the floor.
Okay. Yep, you can do that. There's no problem. It's within your ability to do so.
That's it.
Aisling's just watching him do this. And she's like, were the other ones not good enough? What's happening?
The thing is, actually, I take that back, because if there are rugs already on the floor, as long as they are like rugs that can lift up, I don't need to create one.
That's
so
fine.
I actually retcon that. I take it back.
Yep, that's no problem. Okay, so you don't use your finger creation at the moment. So
No.
Time unwinds.
Yeah, I just realized I don't need to do that.
You hear footsteps and voices coming towards you, and about that sort of time, Eugene, you see the eye vanishes, and as it does, Rebecca comes round the corner with your Uncle Perb, and on one
Uncle
side,
Perb!
and Auntie Needles on the other side. So she's this obviously this quite statuesque woman, like flanked by two tiny but very powerful individuals who kind of seem to be very comfortable in their situations.
Auntie Needles is the coolest and the best name ever.
They kind of pop around the corner, and then Rebecca says, she goes, "Ah, fantastic! Thank you very much for coming. Did you see anything unusual?"
No, nothing.
It's a big eye. Is that one of yours?
She kind of motions to Uncle Perb, who who just kind of flourishes a little bit.
Oh, it's one of yours. Creepy.
Just keeping an eye on things. You set off a small alarm. I just wanted to make sure it was actually you and not somebody else. So.
Okay. Is it still there?
No, I dismissed it a while ago.
All right.
And they, two of them, Auntie Needles kind of also goes, didn't have much time to talk to you this evening, dear. How are you doing? How's the heroing thing going for you? And she just kind of takes Ashling's hand and just pats it like a grandmother.
It's going pretty good. It's
they're
going
not
pretty
stressing
good.
you out.
Nah, I'm not aware of stuff enough to get stressed out.
That's the best way to be. That's why being a fae is so much fun.
Yep, exactly.
And she then hobbles past and she kind of acknowledges both of you, just kind of shakes your hands. Thank you so much for your service to this city and to the world in general. I look forward to following your campaign moving forward and see what heights you achieve.
Thank you. Yes, it's lovely to see you.
And she just takes a small seat. Perb just kind of smiles, goes, lovely to see you all again. Pops.
Hi.
Like, just opposite her, sort of thing. Shortly thereafter, other people come in. First off is Sothis. Comes in. She immediately seems more relaxed, seeing the three of you. And with her is Sadia on her own. Without her two guards, who just kind of bows gently, and the two of them take some seats. Shortly after them come in Mossy Gilweed from Ashore, and Lady Ilsin Meyer, who you didn't get a chance to talk to, was the quite scholarly-looking person from Daklan. And she immediately, she's like, everything is very exciting to her, and she's just kind of taking in everything, and she immediately kind of settles her sight on Eugene. She goes, oh, fantastic, and then Uncle Perb behind it, oh my goodness, and such refined magical characters. And she introduces herself and shake hands. And of course, young Master Iskarok himself, and Aisling from Nudoan. Oh,
Hi.
I'm terribly sorry I didn't get much chance to talk to you all this evening. It's been a bit of a rush, I have to admit, all over the place.
You're telling me.
Yes, I would, before I leave tomorrow, very much like a chance to have a chat, particularly with you, Eugene, about where your scholastic interests. I'm certain there's something we can do for you in Daklan, if you wish.
Oh, more stuff, Eugene.
Mossy walks over to Rock, and there's very few people that kind of stand very much taller than Rock, and he is, being a Firbolg, is quite a lot bigger, and his big red beard with like kind of very coiffed with flowers kind of arranged through it. He's not what you expected as the head of Ashore. He just firmly shakes Rock's hand and goes, it's very nice to meet you.
And you.
And you, Aisling, and young Eugene. I have heard nothing but good things.
Well, that's a relief.
I'm looking forward to hearing your testimonies about what happened.
Oh, do we need to prepare speeches?
No, just speak from your heart and tell us what you saw.
Oh, that's
fine.
an error. Okay.
The last few figures come in. First off, Stone, the very large metallic being from Vardak, this Sidoric Forgeborn, comes in very quietly, soft, gentle voice, says hello to all of you, and then stands off to one side, thinking that they are too heavy for any of the chairs that have been set out, and just patiently wait. Campbell comes in with Landrin Hirok, the dwarven master of crafts from the Fallen Peak. And with her is her attendee, Mika, who steps off to one side for a second. The last person to make their way in, just make sure I've got everybody, is someone that you haven't seen before. A slightly scruffy-looking human male in a who's not dressed up like everybody else, carrying a large wooden-bound tome, and holding a big old staff with a gold chain of discs that you've not seen before, all of which seem to have different sort of indications of. I think, Eugene, you would recognise straight up that each of the symbols represents a different school of magic. He comes in and immediately Rebecca closes the door behind him and motions for him to sort of take a seat. For those of you who have not met our friend, this is Arkendor Veladas, a representative from the Eternal Library.
I hold Eugene up as he faints.
Right, so.
I'm really sorry, I just need a BRB.
You are all very aware of why I have brought you here today. We find ourselves at a crossroad where we have discovered that our greatest fears are true. The AL not only survived the Ascension, they are still out there. And they can affect the Sky Shield. We have covered it up as best we can among our nations, but every person felt the shift. Everybody felt this momentary descent. And I don't need to tell you how terrifying that is. Should the Sky Shield fail, it will likely be the end of our civilization. I have asked our three friends here, both in order as assurances to make sure that things were on the up and up, and also given the opportunity a chance to just cement their testimonies about what they saw. I know that there is a great deal of speculation and concern, but you just need to know, as always, Cloud's Kern only has the interests of the world at heart, and we will always remain neutral in your individual conflicts. I have also invited Countess Sothis here to join us as a representative Parshkik who were unfortunately under the influence of this particular creature. Sothis kind of gives a deep nod, and her half-dragon form just kind of settles into the chair she's in. She can attest to some of the mystical effects that they were under and the danger that the AL presented in their time, some 500 years prior to our ascension, our current position. Are there any initial questions before we start?
I have a question.
Rock.
You said that, based on what's happened, that your assumption is that the AL are still out there and are a threat to us. Do we know that there are further AL in these kind of pockets like we just experienced?
I think they look around. I think they turn to Auntie Needles and Uncle Perb at this point. And the two of them kind of glance at each other. Well, I don't think that it's entirely without reason to think that there are more powerful Fae than myself out there. I can only tell you what people like me felt. When the shield shuddered, and it was an answer. When the bitter snow died, it cried out, and something answered. The sky shield is the only thing that stops whatever is beneath us from getting to us.
Right, well, that's answered that question. Oh, actually, I do have another question.
Yes, Rock.
Who maintains the sky shield?
That is one of the questions we're here to ask. And that, she kind of turns to Arkendra, is why our friend is here. But we will get that to a moment. Are we all in agreement that what passes through this room will remain between us for this time? I know we do not all represent pure straight leaders at this time, but we do represent the factions who are concerned about mutual cooperation in this matter. There's a general easy consensus, and I have an insight check off of the three of you for a second.
Oh yeah. Inside. 18.
18?
16.
16?
22.
22. All three of you get the sense that this is not the first time this group of people have met together like this, and it probably won't be the last. This is
It's the Illuminati.
it's almost like this is a group of concerned individuals who go beyond politics.
It's a PTA.
Worst neighborhood watch.
Oh, God.
It's a neighborhood Facebook group.
If anything, our final member should step forward and reveal themselves. And it's this point in time that Mika steps forward. She goes, and in a voice that you now recognize, says, I apologize for the deception, but as we know, and as it drops away, you see the plain garb is replaced by an elegant long red dress with sharp, with kind of like sheaths that look like they are made for holding daggers but don't currently hold any. And
Skier.
you recognize close. You recognize Eugene and Aisling. You recognize the woman who was on the barge when Skier left.
Cool.
Rock, you recognize Sabina Rithin, the late Emperor's courtesan.
Do I know why she would be here?
Well, you can only assume that she holds some sort of political... Actually, make me a history check.
Yeah, but who does she represent, though? History. Oh, natural 20.
Natural 20.
Noise?
There have been rumours that there is an organisation based on the courtesan. So the late emperor, she's like your current emperor's grandfather's like courtesan. Like,
yeah.
So she's an older lady. She's probably in her 60s at this point. There's a rumour that during her time with the emperor, she was asked by him to ensure that he never stepped out of line and never did anything to hurt his people. Like the first emperor was known to be a hard man and a savvy warrior, but his ultimate goal was to unite people to help protect themselves against external forces. Sometimes that meant that they didn't necessarily want it, but they got it anyway. She was supposed to be, by rumor, his moderation. She basically held a dagger to him in judgment at any time. If he stepped out and was genuinely hurting people, it was rumored she would kill him on the spot. And it said from there that an organization, she reached out and kind of created something of an organization. So there's this joke rumor, don't growing in your head, don't disobey the emperor or the courtesans will get you. But you've never thought it could possibly be true. She was just always this really quite charming older lady who just occasionally took an interest in you and Campbell's growing up, who was there and friends of the family because you were part of the royal court, and She always seemed fairly harmless, but this is the first time I think you've seen her for who she really is. She is an alternative heart to the Empire. A woman dedicated to making sure that the Empire serves its people and not its emperor.
Oh, that's cool. Can we get some of them IRL?
Yeah.
Sort out the Tories.
And that kind of immediately makes sense for why Cambor is being so cagey. If she knew Sabina was with her, Sabina being here is politically interesting because she would not have come with the current emperor's permission. She would come under her own steam. And her being here with Cambor, she was in disguise, probably to hide herself from Matrim and anybody else who might get back to the Emperor that she was involving herself in this situation.
Yeah, that's literally what I was just going to ask, is whether Matrim knew.
Matrim is definitely opposed to Cambor, and it's entirely likely that he doesn't run in the same circles as Sabina either.
Okay. I will just attempt to make eye contact with Campbell.
She just quirks an eyebrow and just nods.
I'm just going to raise an eyebrow and look away. Because she wouldn't tell me the secret.
Having a sulk, despite the fact she was right.
Yeah, totally. It's irrelevant that she was right.
Sabina sort of takes a seat next to Campbell. She goes, I must thank Campbell and Rebecca for all they did to keep my presence here secret. But I trust everybody in this room with the discretion that my position requires. Campbell herself speaks up this time. She says, so, as always, the Imperial Court is divided on it. People like Matrim believe that it's time to start escalating and expanding again because clearly the world can't take care of itself. Others believe it's not our problem. And then there are people like Sabina and I who want to support whatever we can to ensuring that it doesn't happen again, and whatever we can do to protect the Sky Shield is available to our allies. Morses sits back and goes, well, I won't lie to you. I think that the Emperor coming for us would be a terrible move, and I don't want to go back to war because we've had 20 years of peace now. But I'm of a like mind. We have to make sure the Sky Shield is protected. And I think one by one they kind of all send that they are basically on board with this mission.
So, could I ask another question?
Rebecca just nods. I know there's a lot you're taking in right now.
Well, yes, there's been a lot of secrets kept. So, what exactly...
I think Aisling and Eugene can see Campbell actually roll her eyes.
That's all right. She learned everything she knows from me. No one can roll their eyes as hard as I can. So my question is this: what exactly is the purpose of this meeting? What are we here to discuss and decide?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there should be any debate about keeping the Sky Shield intact.
This is more of a sharing of information and ensuring resources are moving in the right place. I think Eugene, above everybody else, can remember the great coming of the Terror Dragon in the Empire. During that time was the last time we properly got together like this and ensured that the right adventurers were available and in the right place with the right resources to be able to stop the dragon. Externally, the Empire never received support from Ashur or Daklan or Klauskern or anywhere, but actually what happened is we searched for the right adventurers and asked them to involve themselves.
But the Empire will never acknowledge that,
But the
obviously.
Empire would never acknowledge that. And both, you can see, like, Sabina and Cambor are just very much like, yeah, it's like that. Similarly, when an event occurs that is beyond one nation, but politics would get in the way, some of us meet together to decide how we can best assist without interfering overtly. That is why we are here. Arkentir here is also an old friend of several of us. However, he also represents the Eternal Library, who are our oldest seat of knowledge in the world. And I have personally asked him and his scribes to approach the Eternal Librarian and ask them for their assistance. And I have a response, and I have some information. He kind of holds up the book and kind of flutters it open. In fact, the Eternal Librarian asked to send a simulacrum of himself to answer your questions. As he does, the pages of this book just tear out and flutter into the sky and twist and turn.
Eugene gasps in horror. The book! The book!
And folds into a shape, and landing on rustly feet in front of you is the shape of a drake made entirely of paper.
Oh, so cool. That's very cool.
The Eternal Librarian turns and looks at each of you in turns. We have knowledge we have kept since before the Ascension, but it is only in part. The Sky Shield was forged by a group of mages, druids, sorcerers, clerics, and those bonded to ethereal and external beings, all of whom sought the same solution. From their wisdom, powerful and dangerous magics were attempted. That which could be saved was saved, but the secrets of what they did was never written down, only passed to their descendants and apprentices. That order has disappeared from the world at the risk of being manipulated by newer forces. It's sort of a moment where this dragon settles a sight on the Imperial representatives at this point. And I think you guys have heard this before. Basically, these mages just were more present in the world, and then when the Empire formed, they disappeared. They literally just went to ground so that they couldn't be manipulated or twisted or have anyone have any power over what they did. There is more we can do. My research has indicated there are 5 points in the world as we know it. 5 points in the scattered lands where we may access and strengthen the Sky Shield. Where those locations are still hidden, though. But we have a possible lead. He kind of looks directly at Tythic Perb. Your great master traveled with one of these sages in the First Ages, and another companion who may know where these locations are. A Crythoric person named Ghost. Perb kind of sits back and goes, Ghost? Yes, my master did mention a Crythoric a long time ago, but such a Crythoric would... I mean, they would have returned to the hole by now, surely, or passed on their inheritance to the next generation.
If I may, I believe that to be true.
They kind of all stop and look at you, not in an uncomfortable way, just like expectant for you are given space to talk.
I met this ghost, I believe.
What? Eugene, that's amazing. When did you meet him?
Just before I arrived at Cloud's Cairn, actually. I didn't realise who he was, obviously. But he did mention that it was time for him to pass on, and that we probably wouldn't meet again, is the impression that I got.
Rebecca, do you still keep a colony of Crythoric safe on Cloud's Cairn? And she smiles and she goes, well, that's the best fortune we've had since we found about all this. For those of you who haven't met them, Cryphoric are what are also known as shard mines, or gem folk. They are not individual beings, but a collection of sentient magical gems who create representative forms, humanoid forms, usually to interact with us. When we first descended, they fought us. We had disturbed their homes deep beneath the earth, and we also unwittingly used some of their number in order to try and keep our magics strong. It was horrible, and we still owe them a great debt for the mistakes we made. In time, we were able to communicate with them better, and they even joined our society to a certain extent. This ghost sounds like he would probably have been one of those first forging into the frontier with us like that. And you say you interacted with him recently, Eugene?
Yeah. Time is weird. We were on an island for a while, but a few months ago, I believe.
So within the last year?
Oh yes, definitely.
It's entirely possible that he returned to the colony that we have in the actual cairn.
Yeah, well, we travelled together to Cloud's Cairn, so I at least know he arrived here. I didn't ask him how long he was, like where he was going, but he did mention that he would be returning.
Paper Dragon kind of walks up to you and kind of looks you over. Would you be willing to talk to Ghost for this council?
Yes, yeah, of course.
Then our next course of action may be simpler than we thought, says Perb. Auntie Needles claps her hand. Oh, that's delicious. That's wonderful. I like it when it's simple. Sabina kind of leans back and kind of looks at Campbell, and Campbell just like, well, I don't relish the idea of putting my brother in danger, but if he's willing... Oh, I'm going to say it because everybody else is talking around it. Would the three of you be willing to represent us and find Ghost, or whatever remains of Ghost's memories, and ask them?
Well, if Eugene's going to do this, of course we're not letting him go on his own.
Well, no.
Rebecca kind of smiles and she goes, now, I mean, we would absolutely compensate you for your time, but you do understand this mission would be completely off the books.
Oh, exciting.
Yes, I think we are aware of the stakes, having been through what we have been through. But to be honest, there's no need for all this drama. We're quite happy to go and meet with Ghost. I don't know why. Yeah, for
God's sake, just give us a question. Let us go.
In which case, Rebecca stands up. I would formally request that the three of you meet with Ghost, ascertain what he knows about the 5 temples, and return to myself with this information. Is that okay with everybody else? And I think there's a general agreement around the room. As she turns to Auntie Needles, she goes, the summer court is closest to the cairn here. Would you be able to host them when they arrive? And Auntie Needles just kind of leans and goes, it would be my pleasure. I've been trying to get this young lady, and she points to Aisling, over for a cup of tea for 6 months.
I've been busy.
So
There's a whole party about why I've been busy.
There's a general chuckle around the room. It kind of feels like the tension just drops out.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, it just drops out the room a little bit, and I think it's a quiet murmur. Mossy goes, well, I have a suggestion. You might like this one. How about we push some resources through Rebecca, and once they found where these stations are, we trust these 3 to go and check on them.
That sounds like a mapping job.
I mean, I can't disagree. That does sound like a job for Aisling to map things.
Okay.
As long as we are prepared and know what to do should we get there, and these temples need something done to them. I mean,
The dragon turns good. We will continue our research with the additional information you provide. We should be able to provide more guidance.
That would be most appreciated.
It's this point in time that Landrin, the dwarf from Fallen Peak, picks up and goes, well, you're going to have a skyship from me. I'm not letting anybody else put one of those junkers out. And no offense to you Imperials, but those things, how they stay up in the sky, I have no idea. So, yeah. Rebecca, you talk to my people. I will get something very special put together for these 3. When you're ready to travel and find these ships, you shall do so under our sails.
Nice, thank you.
Again, we do appreciate that, and obviously, we do appreciate the trust that you are putting in us, and the very generous recompense that you have offered. Could I just intercede with one issue that might be worth mentioning?
They all just
to this group. It does appear that somebody attempted to disrupt this meeting with some rather dangerous magic, which we happened upon earlier, which would imply to me that somebody who knew this meeting was going to happen did that, or someone who at least had the power, as was pointed out to us, to perhaps read minds or scry on the fact that this meeting was happening. But it does imply that there is somebody who either wanted to derail this meeting or do some damage or disrupt this. So it might just be worth everybody in this room being on particular guard and paying attention to who might have any vested interest in doing so. Because the magics that we used were quite substantial, and we have encountered similar before. Just
it
just a
involved
thought.
Ash Realm stuff.
I think the sort of general murmur. I think they accept that this is definitely this is something to concern. Rebecca turns to Sabina and so says, "This is more your field of expertise than ours." And she nods and she goes, I will provide you with what information I can, and I'll continue investigating. You said this was rabbit folk?
Well, the rabbit folk was the henchman, shall we say. I have utmost confidence in saying it was not the rabbit folk who conducted the magic.
She kind of leans back and goes, I'll investigate his whereabouts and movements through Cloud's Cairn over the last 24, 48 hours and see what we can turn up. It might also be finally time to have a closer look at these embers that you've mentioned to me before, Rebecca. And Rebecca kind of nods. She goes, largely, if a criminal faction is not creating untoward problem, we try and let the underworld do what it needs to do. It's not ideal, but generally speaking, I don't have unlimited resources to chase down every single criminal. If you're not hurting the city or its people, minor theft and the like is acceptable loss.
I mean, a lot of the criminals, are really more just sort of petty thieves trying to get by. And in fact, some of the what you would class as criminals are in fact very vested in keeping sort of stability and keeping things running in the so-called underworld. So let's not jump to any harsh actions and try and become like the Empire.
She kind of nods. She goes, to this end, you might be worth reaching out to the magpies, who have expressed an interest in helping us in the past. And
sorry, who was that? The magpies.
The magpies.
Magpies. I'll investigate them.
Well, Sabina will be investigating them. You are on your way to the cairn. So, if there is anything else anyone wishes to raise, this is a good opportunity to do so. If not, we will go to our respective and carry on looking for these temples and any hints or mystery that may point our friends in the right direction when they return. I'll make sure that they get to the cairn safely. Auntie Needles will take them as our representative to the seam. She is best positioned to talk to the great minds themselves. She smiles. She goes, "Right. Well, I'll prepare a welcome for you." And she goes, she smiles and goes, "I'm very excited. I don't know about you three."
Oh, I'm well excited.
I don't suppose any of you have been in a Fey enclave except for Aisling, have you?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
She goes, "Wonderful." And she goes, "Well," she pulls out a small wand with a little bud on the end of it, and she goes, "Well, I'll see you soon." And waves it, and then just
Oh, she's like a
disappears.
fairy godmother. Yeah, Fae stuff's great so long as you don't have hay fever.
Yes, I would imagine it would be a problem.
So, unless there is anything you want to ask anybody in this room or anything that you wish to achieve before we wrap up, I think that is a very good time for us to do so.
Ashling's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just after 6:30. Disappeared. So, that is the end of the Grand Ball. An evening of politics and mystery and strange rabbit occurrences.
And cheese!
And dancing and cheese and wine and plays and songs and time with friends
And apparently Eugene being courted by like 900 nations.
So the good news is you have survived my ball problem.
Yeah.
Yes!
Level.
Yeah! Huzzah!
Which we'll do off screen for everybody rather than
because it takes me forever.
Yeah, I can't make quick decisions about spells.
Yeah, you've all got difficult decisions to make at level 7, I'm sure. But this is it's a nice return for us. I was hoping to get to here before our break, but it doesn't matter because we're here now. And we are absolutely going to jump into the next story arc. So
excited!
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. All the wonderful comments and things distracting me in chat, as always.
The chat has been on point.
Fantastic.
On point.
Huge thank you to our volunteer mods, Feline Trickster and Bespectacled Man, Nikki and Michelle. Thank you so much for hovering around, just making sure that nobody invades and does horrible things. big thank you to our VIPs, Charlie's mum,
Charlie's
I'm
the wonderful Colleen, and Luke, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today, but he will be back soon. We do appreciate everybody coming out and spending time with us, particularly those people who have discovered us recently. Really do appreciate you coming and jumping in straight in the middle. We love you very much. I am going to get my cast to tell you where you can find them, what they are up to, and anything else that they feel like sharing. And I am going to start with Charlie.
Cool. Yes, you can find my stuff at charlieevents.com. I think it's along here somewhere.
It is, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
There
Just
you
checking.
go.
Have I updated that? Yes, I have.
Yeah, that's got all my shit on it. It's got portfolio, shop, and all the links to my social media as well. No particularly exciting updates that I can talk about anyway, because secret. Yeah, that's about it. That's about all I'm doing at the moment. So yeah, this has been awesome. I'm so glad to be back. I loved our space campaign to bits, but I also adore our characters in this campaign so much, and I miss them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very, very happy to be back.
Yeah, we come out unraveling some mysteries and putting things forward for the next part of the story as well.
Oh,
It's been a lot of
so
fun
great.
setting that up.
Oh my.
And the play during this ball was amazing, by the way, Chris.
Cool.
It was
Thank
so
you.
cool.
Thank you so much. And it's always a hard thing to kind of put across. Like, am I just going to read at you for an hour? No.
No, I loved it. It was really cool.
Theo, would you go next, please?
Yes, I would. You can find me at you can find my work at theoblueillustration.com. I do have a shop. It is currently closed at the moment, but it will be open again very soon. I have been very busy working on something that hopefully I can talk about very soon. And I will have a very exciting announcement this week sometime. So keep your eyes on my social media, which is theoblue.jpg on most things. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Eyes emoji.
Big things, lots of things happening, lots of exciting things.
Uh-huh.
Wayne, are there any NDAs that you'd like to vague at us about?
Just so in demand.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How do people speak to my people?
I am Wayne Fick. I'm a creative director, and I would tell you where to find me, but it's a secret. And but I might share some of it at some point one day.
So brave.
But it's really exciting, and I'm super cool. So it's really great. You can find me on pretty much all the socials as WayneFick01. So please do give me a follow if you fancy it, because I am currently working on some new products to help small businesses with their branding, and to help artists and creators and other people be able to develop and create cool and authentic brands for themselves without it costing them a fortune or selling their souls. So so do give me a follow. It's WayneFick01. Thank you to everybody for joining us as well. It really means a lot.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, thanks,
also,
everyone.
it is worth keeping, and I'm going to start helping him keep on top of this. Wayne has made a dedicated thing that he's going to try and put out something social every day during the week if he can. I'm going to try and help him with that to make sure he can keep on top of it.
Starting in 6 months.
Starting on Monday, now that the pair of us are feeling better. I am.
Yeah, because I suck at doing social media, but I know,
It's
like many of us, it's one of those things that becomes more of a chore than it should be. But
you've got it. I've got your back. You've got it. You're going to be great. It's been awesome.
But also, all jokes aside, please do, if you don't already follow Charlie and Theo and Chris, please do follow them, because they all have exciting stuff coming up. And honestly, I am so proud and excited for my friends. So please do that.
Aww. Even if it's just for our chaotic Instagram stories full of gay and satanic stuff. So
Toads. And cats. Yeah, lots of cats.
Gay satanic cat stuff.
Yeah.
And dogs.
Perfect.
Cats and pups.
And
Anyway,
Cool.
I digress, as usual.
Leaves it to me to kind of say thank you to our friends and say if you love what we do and you would like to see very cool people play Dungeons and Dragons on a regular basis but in a slightly different vein to what we do, we do recommend that you pop past our friends at Wicked Game, who stream every Wednesday. They are in the middle of their Divisia census campaign. They're back. They came back
so
last
good.
Wednesday. It's so good. There's really tense stuff going on at the moment. There may be some PvP in the future. Who knows?
Whoa!
It's really cool. It's really very cool. Another thing to keep an eye out is our wonderful friends at Dice and the Slice. Joshy, who you may remember, is the from our space stream, is the DM from that. They are just about to kick off their second season of their podcast. We're very excited. I can't wait to see where Josh takes the world. He says taking a slightly different approach to it this time, so I'm really, really keen to hear where he's going. And they have new players and some familiar voices might be showing up. You never know.
It's a secret, but you know.
Yeah. Can't
More NDAs.
Can't confirm.
This stream has been so full of secrets.
I know.
I think Secrets and Cheese should be the episode title, actually, to be fair.
Secrets and cheese.
Why is the cheese so big? It's full of
Secrets
secrets.
full of secrets. As for me, you can find me anything that I'm up to via my social links, which is chrismepham.com/links, which has got my Twitter, my personal Twitch channel, stuff about this as well, and my Instagram on there. I'm working on the arts at the moment, so I should be posting some more stuff now that I'm feeling more human. And my commissions are open if anyone likes what I do and would like one of their characters immortalized in digital art. Beyond that, I think I've covered everything I'm up to at the moment. Yeah, I think so. It feels weird. Should be a bigger list. I feel I'm used to a bigger list at the moment. We have been Some Other Heroes. We have absolutely loved being here with you. Oh, happy Pride to all our LGBTQAI plus followers, friends, and family.
From us queer Dungeoneers to you queer Dungeoneers.
We love you. It's important. Pride doesn't end, but let's shout about it just a little bit louder this month. We love you all. You're wonderful. Thank you for spending this time with us, and we will see you next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.